I think we live, everybody. Good evening, everyone. What's up, everybody in the chat? I see we got a few people in there. Al, Jaylen, what's up?
What's going on, guys?
Marcus is here with us. He'll be joining us in a few moments. As you know, this is the Political Matrix. Thanks everybody for coming by on this Saturday night. To be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Line is overused, but it is what it is. It works. Um, so I guess let me ask you. It's overused, but it is what it is. It works. Um, so I guess I'm hearing a mean echo from somewhere. It is what it is. It works. Um, so I guess I'm hearing a mean echo from somewhere. It is what it is. It works. So I guess is that for me? Huh? Oh, that's weird.
Oh,
Did you hear that, Al?
yeah.
Yeah. So,
It reminds me of the FDA virtual meeting yesterday. Yeah. They had a lot of this going on. So weird. This is going well. Thanks for joining us. Hit up the chat.
Sometimes I think it's the internet that is messed up, but I don't. Sometimes it feels like it's purposeful.
Oh, it is. They did this a lot during the FDA meeting.
Cause there's no.
Which was 8 hours long because of this shit.
Because when I'm doing stupid stuff on my phone, everything goes in quickly. But as soon as I'm maybe researching something or reading, my phone wants to act up.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Technology. So advanced.
Oh, hello. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Right. I couldn't hear if you guys had gotten started or not. I believe Chris did get us started, but I'm still getting a couple things set up. So as soon as I'm completely set up, then I'll click my camera on and get ready. As you guys see, we have a bunch of topics to get into. What is it? FDA is one of the topics. Afghanistan and what is it? I think like the mainstream press is finally getting around to admitting that that there was actually what would we say actual real attacks, that it was not some kind of terrorist, that they accidentally, well, supposedly accidentally killed some innocent civilians over there.
Mostly
As you can
children.
see, we got a special guest with us. We got Jaylen back with us again. So I appreciate you. How we doing, Jay?
I'm alright, man. Just relaxing. Just enjoying my Saturday night. Nothing much really else to do. Kind of wanted to stay away from the outside world, at least for today.
I consider that a smart thing. For those who didn't catch it the other day, Jaylen actually joined me for the spaces. I was testing the kind of thing out. I went into one of the rooms and things got a little crazy between another platform. It got kind of out of control very quickly. But I'll deal with that on another. We'll leave that alone for now. Well, what other topics do we have going? Please remind me, panel.
Did we mention the FDA?
Yes, we
Yeah.
mentioned FDA. Oh, I
Vaccine
forgot.
mandates. Yeah.
I forgot. And we have the lawsuits that are going on between LA and New York. Both of their fire departments and, well, let's just say first responders as a whole, both are pushing back against the mandates. I guess it looks like a all COVID show. Nicki Minaj. So I guess I'll let you guys jump right into it.
Well, I wanted to start by saying that there are many protests going on across the world right now about not complying with the vaccine mandates or green pass or whatever you want to call it in whichever country. From Belgrade, Serbia, to France to Australia to Germany. And there was a little bit of police brutality recently in Australia, which was fun for no one. But it's just interesting to see like all of these protests happening and the response from the law enforcement people and how they react and how, you know, there's no social distancing with them. They just get up in your face and pepper spray you. So it's funny how that's for your public, that's for the health of the public, to keep everyone in line and to pepper spray people so that they don't get too rowdy. So they're doing us a service all around the world. It's good to see. Thank you so much to all of the wonderful police departments in the world. That's sarcasm.
Your mic is muted.
Mine is because I'm done.
Yeah, you know, I noticed there.
Y'all can cut in. I don't want to take up too much time on that topic.
No, you're fine. His mic was just, he was trying to
the police are, you know, they filed suit in several states against the vaccine mandates. I guess the only thing to do to avoid them is to either join the post office or is to become a member of Congress. Because as you can see, they're not they're not required to get the vaccine. I thought that was very interesting. As you know, the president is urging Americans to go out and get this. You know, his buddies in Congress, they haven't made it mandatory for themselves. So I wonder why that is.
Exactly, because they're in the judicial branch. They're not in the executive. That's how they got around it. Because he asked for, he put it, the order for executive branch, federal government employees, but not for the judicial, just to get around that little.
We know that, but we know that was
how convenient.
Correct, super convenient. All while urging every private company in the country to get their employees vaccinated. So,
and he hasn't even gotten the booster yet. Like, he's trying to shove boosters in our face, which, spoiler alert, it ain't gonna happen, but anytime soon anyway. We'll get to that.
It'll come. Just give it a second. And E, what's up, man? How's everything?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
We good?
I'm good, guys. I'm good.
Yeah, I was wondering what's some of your thoughts on some of this you're hearing?
What were you guys talking about? I missed. You were talking about the Biden forcing everybody to get vaccinated, but it only affected like the executive branch. It didn't affect it didn't affect Congress. It didn't affect the judicial system. So it was just basically. It was just basically a show of that he could do it, or, I mean, you're seeing a lot of people. You're seeing a lot of people get upset about the vaccine mandates in its entirety. I know y'all heard about the thing that happened in New York where those people from Texas got a little uppity about having to be forced to do the vaccine, and and handled it poorly. I thought that was
going to keep
funny.
happening.
Yeah,
and they're going to use it against them, against the people who do that, because people will resort to violence when pushed into a corner for too long. That's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, that's what always happens throughout history.
I mean, do you really believe that people are actually going to resort to violence? Because what I've been watching is people have just been kind of dealing.
Well, you're not watching the. I mean, I don't know what you're watching. Hell, but I don't think overseas everything that's going on around the world with the.
But around the world. No, what I'm saying is around the world, yes, there, but not in the United States.
New York City, yes, New York City has a huge protest going on. So.
Yeah, but I'm talking about as far as actually getting violent. A lot of these other
Well, that's not what you
countries.
want, but that's why they picked that story, because they wanted to show how violent they were towards another human being who's not a part of the the plan. Is just doing what they're told, so just following orders.
See, Kelly asked panel, what do you think about the large cats in the National Zoo getting COVID?
I mean, why are we not masking these cats and these dogs that keep getting infected with this disease? It's putting a lot of other dogs and cats at risk, and they should also get vaccinated. Where's their vaccine?
Animals have been getting COVID for a while now. I mean,
They have. That's what I'm saying. Like, why are we not focused on the animals? We don't care about animals.
Right. I mean, what is it? Lions, tigers. What next? Bears. Bears getting COVID. Yeah. So
A grapefruit or something. I don't know.
Right. Wasn't it?
They tested like
first?
a fruit of some sort, and they got a positive COVID result.
What's up, Signs?
In one of these countries.
Signs, what's up, man?
Oh,
I'm
I
doing
guess
well.
yeah. I guess continue on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
There was no interruption.
Yeah, but
Yes.
weren't you talking about something with the executive branch? You guys were going into that, right?
Well, yeah, it was for the executive branch, the vaccine mandate, not for the judicial branch. So I don't know what the deal is. There's some kind of loophole there that they're using.
Yeah, Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly brought up something else I meant to tell you. Too.
Yeah.
The rally. Yes.
Right, the rally that happened this weekend.
I got something to say about that.
Yeah, so
that was supposed to be a replay of January 6th.
Yeah, so I watched. So I saw some of the things online, and I laughed at all the people who called January 6th like an insurrection.
It's hilarious.
And you look at today, and it was just like that's a crowd that you had to build up all that security for. You had to put those gates up for. You had to fly in military members from neighboring states. I mean, for what? It was like 87 people who showed up there today.
It's hilarious. Actually, I have when we get to the Afghanistan thing, I do want to get that there probably off the top, because I think that was so fucked up what happened. And even like when it happened, when the Kabul attack happened on August 29th, and they said they attacked ISIS-K and a suicide bomber and everything, I knew they were full of shit. And I was calling them out on Twitter, and a lot of other people were calling them out, and they were getting different accounts from on the ground and everything from these people who were claiming that that they killed like 6 children at the time. It turned out to be 7, and a couple of civilians as well. So they basically killed a family and an aid worker who works for the fucking government. They killed somebody who worked for the government and helped them in the past, which is so them. That's just so them, because they like had Taliban work for them back in the day, and then now they hate Taliban for a little while after 9/11, and now they like them again. So that's how they are. They betray you, and then they're like, hey, you know what, you can come back in the group and we can be cool again. But anyway, John Kirby had like a press conference along with the general. What's this dude's name? Let me get this guy's name. Frank McKenzie. And he was like, I'm sorry, it was a tragic mistake. We didn't mean to, my bad, basically. And there was a part where John Kirby was saying something. Oh, let me get my notes. Hold on. And then I'll put it on the screen if I can. And not for too long, of course. 37 minutes. Let's see here. And again, I don't know if it'll play on my end, so I'll just like put in the chat here. And then say 37-minute mark for that. So let me go to the chat. Hold on. It's a long ass meeting. I mean, press conference. But they did mention near the end of it, some dumbass talked about the rally today. This is from yesterday, of course. And he was talking about how all this National Guard was going to be there and everything. And that the military, they were asking if the former military or whatever, or the current military people who might be there to demonstrate would be in trouble, or basically that sort of thing. And then he was like, oh yeah, they'll be held accountable, especially if they get violent. So you'll see that clip if you got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see it. Won't see it yet for me to add.
Hold on, Marcus. Give me a second.
But yeah, it's like the utter hypocrisy of like apologizing for this event in which they murdered people accidentally, of course. And then saying that if it gets violent, if this rally gets violent, then these people would be fired or whatever, or they'd be held accountable, as he said. I'm like, what about you, bitch? You'll see. I can't. It was so frustrating. I was like, I have to play that tonight because I said, what about you? I was so upset.
All right, this is a pretty long video. Where are we going?
37 minutes. 37-minute mark.
So, who is this talking again?
John Kirby. I forgot his fucking title.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little shit. I think he's the press secretary. Yeah, Pentagon press secretary. The spinner.
All right, Marcus, you should see it up there. Damn, I gotta get back control of this.
All right, give me 1 sec. Let's see. Looking for. There we go.
Law enforcement agencies in supporting the Capitol Police. Should the Capitol Police
Can you guys hear that?
they will first utilize local, state
It's kind of low for me.
capabilities.
Yeah, is there any way we can get it
Yeah.
up a little bit?
Deployment of the physical security task.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna grab up my
Yeah,
speaker.
just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab my speaker real quick.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, the videos always the
That's how they are. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're very low. On
yeah, they're
purpose. I'm
always
sure.
low. It's always a pain in the ass.
I'm sure they do it on purpose.
Yes, because they don't want nobody listening to their bullshit to be able to tell.
Especially when Biden's speaking, it's super low. And then you hear the reporters and they're loud and you're like, oh, damn.
All right, so now I'm gonna try this again now. So let's see what we got.
Innocent life.
We
We investigate.
If it's
If
true,
it's true,
we
we
acknowledge it,
acknowledge it.
just like we did today. But he also
also
knows
knows
that we have to work just as hard to prevent recurrence, no matter the circumstances, no matter the intelligence stream, and certainly no matter the operational pressures under which we labor. On another matter altogether, today the Secretary approved a request from the Capitol Hill Police Board to provide 100 members of the Washington, D.C. National Guard who will be stationed at the D.C. Armory as a physical security task force this weekend to augment law enforcement over the weekend covering the September 18th demonstration on Capitol Hill. The DC National Guard will join a number of local law enforcement agencies in supporting the Capitol Police. Should the Capitol Police require assistance, they will first utilize local, state, and federal law enforcement capabilities before requesting the deployment of the Physical Security Task Force. The task force will only be deployed upon request of the Capitol Police to help protect the U.S. Capitol building and congressional office buildings by manning building entry points and screening individuals that are seeking access to the building. They will be unarmed. And with that, I can take some questions. Yeah, Travis.
I had a question about that. The guard troops going to the Hill. Obviously, back in January, they claimed kind of a big issue that there were veterans and a couple cases, active troops that were involved in the January 6th incident. I'm just wondering if there's been any efforts to say something to the troops ahead of this about if they're thinking about going, what they should consider first, and if that's too many levels below the code to speak from the podium. Can you talk at all about what the secretary might say to troops who are thinking about going to a rally like this on Saturday?
I don't know of any official communication that's come out from the department at any level specifically to troops who might consider being a part of a protest. There are already limits to what they can do in uniform, and clearly political protest is one of those things they're not allowed to do. But I don't know of any specific guidance that's been issued. They are American citizens, and in their off-duty hours, they're allowed to participate in social events like that, social political events like that. But they can't do it in uniform, and obviously, should things turn violent, then they will be held accountable for any violence that they participate in.
There you go. That's
there you go.
it.
That's it. Nobody wants
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Got an echo.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn that up. All right.
Oh yeah, thanks for that. That's it. Like just right after a whole, if you look at the whole thing, then you'll see your blood will be as boiled as mine was. Yeah, it is a big deal now because New York Times pointed it out because they had an investigation. That's the only reason we know anything. And also the on the ground people, the people who were telling the truth about it online to various networks like BBC, for fuck's sake. But like people were not having it this time. I don't know why it's just this time that we get to learn this information. But yes, every time it's fucking bullshit. But they never get called out on it. And they won't get called out on it, and they won't be held accountable either. They like asked the reporter, one of them asked like, is anyone going to be held accountable? And he's like, well, we're looking into that, like we're investigating ourselves. We'll figure it out later, like it's bullshit. Like you're worried about a protest turning violent and you just killed 10 fucking civilians, 7 children. Go fuck yourselves. Honestly, defund the Pentagon. That's what I say. We don't need to give them any more money to bomb people.
Elle, did you see the part where the people where the protesters were basically saying, "Oh, we're not going to do anything violent," and like half the mainstream media apparently just got up and walked out? They just said, "Nah, this isn't news," and just walked away.
No, I didn't see that, but that sounds like them. That sounds like they would do that. They love violence. They act like they don't, but they love it. Look at Don Lemon. We got to show that clip of Don Lemon and that fucker, Chris Cuomo. God damn. If
it bleeds, it leads.
They're disgusting, all of them. I can't.
Well, they hyped up January 6th so much, so they had to have a sequel, which they thought would have been today. But it was very disappointing because it seemed as if, according to the reports, that there were more press and security people than the actual protesters. So, I mean, I guess it worked well for them, right? They didn't have a mess on their hands, and they get to poke fun at the fact that not many people showed up.
Oh, yeah, because that's what they always do when people don't show up. They just make fun of the people for not following through and not giving them violence.
Yeah, I guess I'll respond kind of what I think Kelly was getting at in this comment. She said it's a big deal about one drone strike that killed civilians, and we have been doing thousands of drone strikes over the past 2 decades that have killed as many or more, and we don't hear about it. And
I responded to that as well.
Well, that's the reason. I mean, when I was overseas and stuff like that, what I realized is shit like this is happening like every 5 minutes. So, I mean, sorry if I'm a little bit kind of not, I mean, it's kind of like a water is wet kind of thing with the American government. This is what they do. This isn't like some kind of outrageous situation that's different from the normal. They do this kind of shit all the time.
They
And
just got
so
caught. That's the only difference.
to a degree, I mean, they're still going to spin it and nothing's actually going to happen. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
getting caught would be some kind of consequences are going to come about, which we all know that's not going to happen. So, I mean,
Are
You
we
know, Marcus, one thing I
give
would
a
add too is that I take notice that, um, had this been George Bush who had done this, some of these channels or some of these people would have been at least attempting to make noise and complain. Now you can see, from what, 2004, 17 years later, you can see that those same people who are supposedly against war are very silent. Like there's not even anti-war movement in this country or even party, nothing.
Nope.
Everyone just
because it's been
accepts that as
suppressed out.
that's just the way it is.
It's been completely pushed out. That's why. What I see has happened politically is the Republicans who weren't, I guess, the extreme Tea Party type have just taken over the Democratic Party. And the people who were somewhat a little bit to the left part of the Democratic Party have just been pushed out in silence. So they kind of are, that's why you see all of this um, DSA and MPP party and Green Party and Libertarian, all that's what all this is about. Because these are a whole bunch of people who are basically politically displaced. And so they're trying to figure some way to make a voice, but what I see is just a bunch of splintering. And that's the reason why there's no actual organized pushback at this point.
But I think any organized pushback would just get blown into smoke anyway. Because you see how quickly the opinions change. I mean, even if you're on Twitter, it can go from 1 minute, something happens. Oh, support this. These lives matter. And then they turn it around and turn it to the one thing. And then both sides are fighting over something that has nothing to do with what's actually going on.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Before, you would have at least one side which would push back, but now you have both sides of the aisle, which they support most of these wars and things like that. So there's not going to be a lot of pushback. I mean, when the Republicans try to push back, it's not taken seriously because during the Trump administration, during the Bush administration, they ignored most of this stuff. So they're
Also,
not taken as a fair. I mean, they're not taken as an honest critic when they're talking about it. It's just politics, and I think everybody just sees that it's just politics at this point. When one side's calling out the other side, it's not for any kind of actual real accountability. Oh, and I guess I'll read this comment here. Whipple Dingle Weedlepuffin says, these bastards should be announcing their own resignations, placing themselves under arrest, pending independent investigation of the intelligence agents that provide the lethal directions. Well, they should be, but this would be like expecting people who are liars, thieves, and who have lied their way to get into these positions to actually be accountable for anything. And what I've learned over my 30 years of following politics is that nobody holds themselves accountable. It has to be from an immense amount of pressure, normally from the ground up through different agencies, and then you get enough people involved, and then maybe one media source will finally, the story will bubble up to their level, and then there starts to be some kind of pressure put on it, and then the people start to demand something to happen. But there's that public pressure is no longer there because most of the people now are perfectly fine with this. I mean, I guarantee you, most of these so-called Democrats who are pushing for this stuff, you go back 10 years ago, and these are the same people who were backing George Bush and all these people. So they're not going to really care very much about a lot of these issues, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised it rose to the level of New York Times giving a shit, because I've never seen New York Times have a fucking conscience about anything. So that was pretty surprising to see the visual investigation before this a week ago that I mentioned before. in the last episode, our last
What
stream episode.
It's just kind of like one of those things where it was already being reported on the internet from non-mainstream sources.
They had to get away from
and
that.
it was bubbling up. So at time now it's just like, well, damn, we have to face this one at least. But who they know at the end of the day, there's only going to be a few Americans who are going to be bothered with the death of some civilians in Afghanistan. There's not going to be enough outrage for them to. They don't have to hide, they don't have to lie about it any longer, right? They'll lie about it at first, like, no, we didn't do it. After some time, we lied. Yeah, we did it. Like, they know there's nothing going to come of it.
Well,
But
yeah,
it's all
because
about public health. We got to keep everyone healthy, except those children.
and then Kelly put all. Oh no, go ahead, man. Or was that Jaylen?
No,
Sorry.
No, it was me.
Okay.
I was going to say it was just like Clinton, Hillary Clinton's lawyer getting indicted for like Russiagate. I mean, nothing's gonna happen. I don't feel like anything's gonna really happen to him. Nothing's really gonna come. Nothing's really gonna come from that. I mean, and if it actually did progress, I suspect he might have an accident or have like an early release or something, or like an early release or something like that. But I don't actually think she's gonna get in any real trouble, or anybody seriously is gonna get in any real trouble. That's what I was gonna say. We can go to Kelly's comment.
Yeah, well, before we get to Kelly's comment, I mean, I'll go back to, I did a video about Pelosi when she was talking about going to impeach Trump and why she didn't impeach Bush. I mean, if you realize like what goes on with these people, they pick and choose how they want to handle things. They don't care about, okay, is this something where somebody needs to be punished? It's just all political, the calculations all the time. It's always political calculation. Should we go after them this time or not that time? Kelly says, good thing Congress has fast-tracked hike and pay for all Capitol Hill police and staffers a couple of months ago, right in time for the insurrection rally, right? Well, on top of that, also, that funding went towards not only just the local Capitol Police, but them putting branches into every single state. And they're going to start using that power more and more outside of just, the D.C. area. So no matter where you are at this point, you're going to be starting to deal with Capitol Police everywhere. I have my thoughts on it, but I'll pass that off to the rest of the panel and what they think about it.
Marcus, this is the same people. These are the same people who were, after George Floyd died, were so just, they were so stricken by it, and they had to just kneel down and, wear their African, but actually slavery adjacent attire that they didn't even know about. Promoting slavery in a very pandering way without knowing that you're doing so. They really care. And so, it's funny seeing them end up helping the police of the Capitol because they help them. They protect them. So they're good police. They're the good ones. There's good ones and there's bad ones. But we have to go after.
What it is that's a game they're playing. If they don't really care about, they still support the police. They only play this game about. They only play this game about good cops and bad cops because they were getting all the pressure, and it takes to have a black or brown man get killed, literally on camera in front of all of us, an 8-minute, snuff film, 8 to 9 minute snuff film, and then the whole world will get freaked out for half a minute. They'll do some tokenism. I wanted to get to Misha's statement because. Hey, this might hurt a couple of feelings, my commentary back, but I'll go on ahead and get into it. It says, because it's 10 brown people the government didn't give a fuck about, and neither does our messed up society. Exactly, because at this point, what I said kind of about how those Republicans who have kind of gotten pushed out of the Republican Party, who have taken over the Democratic Party, what you have basically is you have the white majority, which are the hardcore right and the moderate right, who now it's just about them. I feel a lot of the black and brown, uh, population have kind of just checked out of this whole political system because we realize there's nothing that they're going to do. There's never going to be accountability. And
No.
so the black and brown people are the ones who have always been the conscious and pushed and pushed and pushed. And now that we're getting to the point where so marginalized and our voice is so completely just snuffed all the way out. I mean, on the national level, especially, you have MSNBC, which is
Yeah.
literally full of freaking Republicans now. So they have never cared about black and brown people.
And you know
That's the
what?
reason why
It's-
they can bomb the shit out of all of these nations and countries over there. We can still have literal open slave markets in Libya, and
Yep.
that's still not even a fucking story. That's
And
why.
13 service members from the U.S. is a story. So 13 people who were unfortunately killed in Afghanistan, who are of our origin in the U.S., are more important than the 10 people who were killed accidentally on purpose from a drone strike in Afghanistan. Just putting that,
This is the same. This is the same as in Israel when you have eight Israelis die and 200 Palestinians die.
Yeah.
200 Palestinians to Israelis, that's equal to it's like, okay, you kill one of us, we have to kill 10 of yours to equal this out. And that's kind of the same thing in the US. If it's their people, it's fine, but you can kill hundreds and thousands and millions and displace all these freaking people. And it doesn't matter because let's be honest, it doesn't matter because they're not white. If they were white, it might matter.
And how long has the Pentagon been bombing brown and black people? A pretty fucking long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like decades, many, many decades. When was the last white person in a majority white country killed?
I mean, literally the only bombing that's even been close to done in a white majority country, that was Bosnia and Kosovo, and that was supposedly for something. Now we can go and help then. We can go and help, when these countries are struggling and everybody cares and all the focus and instance is put on it, but there's no instance or care when it's black and brown people. I mean, it goes into like a lot of people don't realize what goes on in Africa as far as the West, basically steal the colonization going on, which they're exporting out so much wealth. We get to watch all these videos, and especially it'd be like 2 a.m. and you watch those videos. Can you donate a quarter to help this kid here? And they make it like the continent of Africa is just so freaking poor. But if you go and you still see that they're just extracting out gold and diamonds and everything, and it's just going all to European countries, European and American countries, or Western nations as a whole. But that's the reason why some of these places have the poverty that they have, because they're still being, all their wealth is still being extracted out. I mean, it's the same thing that's been happening lately, which you start seeing in Venezuela, the same thing in Bolivia, and a lot of these other countries. It's what was going on down in Peru, and you start going through all of these different countries. It's the same thing that's been going on literally since. I mean, I want to go back to like early colonizations in the 14 and 1500s. It's just changed the way it's done.
And it's all about minerals. It's all about resources. Like, they need the resources from the country. Just so happens to be rich with a lot of culture and a lot of wonderful architecture that ends up getting ruined in these wars, in Syria specifically. Like, it's just so sad to see. You ever watch one of those war movies or whatever, and then they're running through a field or whatever, and it's the most beautiful atmosphere, but then there's the landmines or whatever in the next scene, and you're like, this could have been a beautiful scene, but then war has to get involved. Like, this could be a beautiful land. Vietnam, for instance, it's a beautiful land, and the U.S. destroyed it. They destroy everything they touch, as much as they possibly can, and it's never enough. They need to go somewhere else. They'll go to Iran. They'll go start shit with China with the AUKUS. That's stupid shit with the Australia and the UK, as if we need more power to those fucking countries with the Five Eyes.
And that's the crazy thing about it, the media. And it's I brought up this comment perfectly. I guess it ties in perfect to what you were saying and what I'm thinking and what Kelly is saying here. It says, has anyone noticed that Nicole Wallace on MSNBC has really been slutting it up lately? I haven't. I try not to ever watch MSNBC.
I don't even know who Nicole Wallace is.
TV.
I don't have cable.
And I brought up Nicole Wallace. I brought that up because Nicole Wallace is those very type of people who is pushing, a whole different topics and ignoring a lot of these things, skipping over a lot of these things. Even when they bring up things where she brings up things where she literally had a direct hand in, she throws it out there real quick and skips on to the next thing. And that's why we're not getting this. And what this shows me is the majority of our population is still watching cable news and gobbling everything down and not doing any real research and studying anything that's going on. It's like a conversation I had with some older woman earlier today on Twitter, where they were pushing that everybody should just get vaccinated and don't worry about the consequences. And I'm like, well, you're 73 and you're worried about, what might happen to you, and everybody should just take it, damn the consequences. And I'm like, you're calling me selfish, but what if, okay, I can get the vax right now and nothing happens right away. But that doesn't mean that something's not going to happen to me 5, 10 years, 20 years down the line. So that means that for the next 30, 20, 30, 40 years, I have to be fucked up because you're scared.
And you might get myocarditis. You never know.
Or who knows what. I mean, it's
or a neurological condition. They get that Guillain-Barré syndrome, something like that.
Well, and my thing is, we just don't know what the consequences are. So I'm not touching that shit.
We know it doesn't work as well as it advertised. That's what we do know. And even on this information on the Comirnaty website, or Pfizer's website about Comirnaty, I hate that title, that name of the drug. But they show the studies, and it says 91% efficacy with all participants. And I could put that on the screen for sure. So hold on a second.
Yeah, I guess she's using MSNBC now to push her broadcast, also sponsored by I can't even say that, but yeah, CIA. That's what we have there, and nobody discloses their connection.
Well, I wanted to say, if you just look at most of NBC staff now, it's all the neocons, and it's neocons and mainly people from the Bush administration. So it's not a surprise, and the only thing they had to do to get over there and get popular was to be like, I hate Trump. I mean, the bar was really low. So it was, I hate Trump, come on over to MSNBC. We'll give you repeated guest appearances, and some of you might get a show, and that's what it is.
Speaking of somebody getting a show, did you guys hear? I just heard about this right before we got on. That now apparently Nina Turner is now a part of TYT.
Ew.
Yes, I heard.
I'm surprised.
She's been wrong for a while.
I saw that.
Right. I'm unsurprised.
This week, or maybe it was last week. I don't think it's that surprising. Everybody needs a job. She probably feels that's the outlet that could probably pay her the most, and she went with it, right? She's not gonna come over here where there's no money here to be made. So she just chased the bag. That's what it is.
Well, what it is all of them, once they realize that they can't be effective in any way, they start chasing the bag. I'll let you guys figure out who you think I might be talking about, but there's another YouTube channel, because I don't really like to go after other channels like this. But there is a channel out there, and that channel, they have people who pushed really hard for certain candidates. And I know that that person knows that what they're talking about is bullshit and it's not going to happen. It's ridiculous what they're trying to accomplish. But I feel like they're doing the same thing on a small level. They're just trying to get the bag. They're trying to get as much money in for their cause, and I think they're just going for the bag.
And you know what? Since we touched on MSNBC, and we're talking about some of their hosts, I guess that kind of bleeds right into one of the topics I wanted to discuss tonight. And one of their other on-air personalities, Joy and Reid. She's a joke of a person not to be taken serious at all.
Oh no,
but, she was
problematic.
She really was. She was the first puppet that they put out to go against Nicki Minaj and to send message to Black people. They knew, just like Nicki Minaj said in her Instagram Live response. What happened, Marcus? Oh, I'll be right back. Okay. But just like she said in her response, then the people running this operation they're still kind of intelligent on some level, right? They knew they couldn't have any white man go on TV and say, "Oh, Nicki Minaj, you're an idiot, shut up," because what's the response going to be? "Oh, it's racist, you can't say that." So the next best thing is to send Joy Reid after her. Pathetic as hell. I mean, I don't know if anybody in the audience saw this, but see, Marcus is not here, so I can't get it on the screen. But I had the clip pulled up with Joy Reid going in and, basically trying to chastise Black folks over not taking the vaccine. But the thing about it is, I don't know who made Joy Reid our spokesperson. E, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Nicki Minaj is a scapegoat for anybody who questions not getting the vaccine or questions other people's stories behind getting the vaccine. That's all she was. She was just a designated target with a target on her back, basically saying, if you question it, you're an idiot. If you question getting the vaccine, you're a fool. That was her whole thing. I don't even have to watch the clip to know what Joy Reid said, because that's her thing. She just attacks people who go against the party line, and the party line is everybody get vaccinated. You're be safe, whatever. So I'm unsurprised.
And to our monitor, whoever monitors our channel, I am invoking fair use. So don't be a dick to us. We are using fair use.
Is that what you're going to start doing, Marcus? Just start saying,
yeah, I'm going to ask you, because they're getting so ridiculous with everything. I mean, they act like this is not a such thing. Like, there's not a such thing as fair use. And I'm going to start declaring that and start saying it in the comments, because it's almost like they play this technicality thing. I mean, even on this channel, I noticed for some reason it doesn't select, like, when the video uploads, whether it's for adult or whether it's for say underage audience. And so what that does is it screws up the algorithm and on putting our videos out. So I have to go behind every single video and go and select it. That way our video can actually be played. And because if you don't select one or the other, they can just take your video down for that also. So it's just so many games that YouTube has been playing with us. I mean, it's childish as hell. But this is the game that they play at this point. I mean, it's almost like they paid some kind of, like, I don't know, a high school kid over in a certain country over there, or who's forced into military service, which they do have a large portion of them who are allocated to surveying other countries and their internet and well, not internet, but surveying their content and being critical of it. It kind of reminds me of what was it, the Darters of the Confederacy back in the day when they all the Southern textbooks, if it said anything that framed the South in a negative light, they could pretty much throw out the textbooks. And it almost seems like this kind of thing is going on a global scale from a certain nation. But we can carry on.
After this, can we watch the clip that I shared?
I have to say this. You have a platform, sister, that is 22 million followers. Okay, I have 2 million followers. You have 22 million followers on Twitter. For you to use your platform to encourage our community to not protect themselves and save their lives, my God, sister, you could do better than that. You got that platform. It's a blessing. It's a blessing that you got that people listen to you, and they listen to you more than they listen to me. For you to use your platform to put people in the position of dying from a disease they don't have to die from. Oh my God. As a fan, as a hip hop fan, as somebody who was your fan, I'm so sad that you did that. So sad that you did that, sister. Oh my God.
They make it.
How about we show
read out
the
tonight.
hypocrisy on that?
They make it sound as if she committed a heinous crime.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like thinking for yourself was just this great unlawful thing.
And
Yes.
let's also point out the fact that even if she said she questioned it, there's still gonna be black folk who are gonna still follow and get it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The celebrity's
So
not
they
gonna.
were going to do it no matter what she said.
It doesn't matter.
And probably already
She
have.
didn't even say don't get it. All she said is she's doing more research on it. She's hesitant. She didn't even tell anybody not to get it.
She said don't be bullied.
Joy Reid, what she's doing, honestly, is she's doing what I see from a lot of Gen Xers. A lot of the Gen X
She's also
generation
a
is just
hypocrite.
follow the narrative, and you better not dare do this. They were the same ones who basically put Biden into office. They are just the go along, get along group, and we'll just take the bare minimum. And also, I wanted to cut something that she said there. When she says our community, you're like second generation African. You ain't my community. What the hell are you talking about? Your people are the ones who sold half of my ancestors into slavery. So you are not my fucking people. So what are you talking about?
Hey,
Just wanted to
Marcus.
say that.
Marcus, did you
real
see
quick.
in the chat?
Oh, what was that?
The private chat, I shared this other clip that's really relevant. Her
Okay,
hypocrisy.
I saw a comment here. It says from Peace Dave says, Joanne, you ever heard of Tuskegee? Not only and here's another thing. Like, people act like Tuskegee was so long ago. Tuskegee was literally, it ended 9 years before I was born. I mean, Tuskegee literally was going on. Like, my mom just turned 60. It was literally going on while she was going to school. I mean, this is not something that's far away. And then at the same time, also, over the same course of period, they were sterilizing Puerto Rican women for that 40-year period also. I mean, then we go back to what went on with them pushing some of the narratives they pushed about HIV. I mean, there's so many things where the media has either buried this, not covered that, skipped over this, and there's so many other things besides Tuskegee that not even mentioned, not even close to mentioned.
The biological warfare.
Think about. We literally just got to the point in 2021 that they're making Juneteenth a holiday. I mean, what about the other like 50 or 60 or 70 massacres or so? Why don't we talk about that? I mean, we still don't even talk about the damn Trail of Tears.
Well, not even that, but we go back to the 70s in North Carolina with their eugenics programs and their sterilization programs there. I mean, that's not that long ago. There's people who are alive today who were affected, who were experimented on back then, and they're not able to have children. So because people are hesitant to jump on this, vaccine train, it's they act as if their record is so flawless, and that people are just crazy for not wanting to get on the train. It's nuts.
And there's also
the
the
other
swine flu epidemic that they had in 1976. People are still recovering from that, I'm sure. Like, and we're not able to walk again, a lot of people. So there were a lot of vaccine injuries back then. Can you see the clip that I shared from Twitter in the private chat?
Yeah, the other thing, going back to Joy Reid, is that I think this is the link you have here.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know, last year it was 2020. It was like or maybe that was 2019. But you know, she goes on TV to say how she doesn't trust the vaccine because Trump is rushing it, blah blah blah. And
Or
then,
the FDA.
sure enough, here we are. We have a change in administration, and now she's all for it. I mean, it's all
Just like
just
all
so.
of them.
Yeah, there are many of them who behave like this. So let me see if I play this.
Is 22
Oh yeah, and shout out to Thomas, Misha. I see Brian Aguilar in there, Mr. Street. I'm sorry for not getting into everybody. I was getting my coffee and shit in the beginning. Kelly, Peace Dove. Who else was in here that I missed out on saying a little stuff? Of course, Signs, Whipple Dingle. And to everybody else that I miss, thank you all for being in here. Hopefully I catch everybody. Kelly definitely says Kelly says I am a Gen Xer, and I thought we were a great generation, but I realized we weren't.
None of us
In
are.
my opinion, the Generation X is probably the most spoiled, me, selfish generation there is. I mean, I used to feel like it was the Boomers, which the boomers are pretty damn bad too. And all it's done is like the silent generation, they had to go and do the actual sacrifices, going in the military, being the ones going through Vietnam and all of these things and the draft and everything. Their children got to benefit from it, and that would be the boomers, and then the top of the Generation X. And this is where this problem and disconnect. These are the people who I'll just put it out there. I've even blasted my mom about it. I said, you guys in your generation, when you were 20 to 30 years old, y'all all worried about partying and doing all this stuff. Y'all didn't pay attention to a damn thing that was going on. And y'all still are not paying attention to a damn thing that's going on. You're just trusting the narrative. And then not only are you trusting the narrative, but you're actually turning into the very same authoritarians which you guys railed against and your parents railed against in the damn 60s. You guys are turned into those same fucking puppets. And this is where the problem goes on, because we have that contingent of baby boomers and of the Generation X who are beaten down on the other half of the Generation X. And I guess I sit on the crossroads of that. For many years, I was considered Generation X. Now I'm considered a elder millennial, whatever the fuck that means. But that's what's happening. And then you have I don't even know what the other generations after this. Jaylen, you have to help me with that. But the other generations, we're the ones who don't have any power, don't have the wealth, and are just being pushed down. And it's almost like our parents have decided, you guys don't even get to have a say so in politics. You guys are going to listen to what we say, and you guys are Generation Y. They're like, you guys are just going to have to deal with what the hell we say, and that's just it. And then get mad when we're not happy with the results of it. Sorry, you can go ahead. Hey, Variant.
Hi, Variant.
I'm gonna play this. Play this clip.
All right, go ahead.
The people who are not
whoops, wrong
vaccines.
one. Whoops. There we go.
To say this. You have a platform, sister, that is 22 million followers. Okay, I have 2 million followers. You have 22 million followers on Twitter. For you to use your platform to encourage our community to not protect themselves and save their lives, My God, sister, you could do better than that. For you to use your platform to put people in the position of dying from a disease they don't have to die from. Oh my God. As a fan, as a hip hop fan, as somebody who is your fan, I'm so sad that you did that. So sad that you did that, sister. Oh my God.
Gotta love that. Lady from Denver went to Harvard. Fake urban accent. She sounds like Obama, sister. But the most amusing part is that woman's position on vaccines, which is, how to put it, changed a little bit from a year ago. Watch.
We just don't know how effective or what the adverse events will be. We'll have a better idea in December. Every vaccine takes 15, 20 years. So for us to just rush through this less than a year, I'm not surprised by the public skepticism, to be honest, Joy.
Yeah, they're wise. It's wise skepticism.
They're wise to be skeptical. Don't take the vaccine. It'll swell your testicles and your fiance will leave you. That's what she was saying last year. In September of last year, she tweeted this, quote, "Who on God's earth would trust a vaccine approved by the FDA?" She put that on Twitter. It's still there. And Nicki Minaj, she's a rapper and everything, but she's not stupid, and she noticed. So she sent out a remarkable tweet against that MSNBC host, which unfortunately was so accurate we cannot read it on the air. It's too over the top, but it's hilarious. But there's something much deeper going on underneath all of this.
All right, so that was Tucker's take on it. He won't say it because, obviously he's part of it. But with that being said, they're talking, as we said, directly to the Black community. They're not talking to Nicki Minaj. They're talking to me. They're talking to Marcus. They're talking to Emmanuel, to Jaylen, to all of us.
Talking down to you.
As usual.
Yeah.
So you just have to be smart. You have to be smart to see through it. But like Marcus said, unfortunately, like Marcus said, though, our parents, our older aunts and uncles, they're sitting there listening to this shit all day and then coming back telling each other, "Oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do that." And what makes this even crazier, she said she would probably get the vaccine. Yeah. So just the fact that she even expressed the absurd idea of even being allowed to question anything, they can't even allow that. So they have to make sure they even stomp out you asking any type of questions. I don't know.
I think she deleted most of her. Nikki deleted most of her tweets about it too, like anything, like all the stuff she said about questioning or like. Them looking into her family and her into her other country. I think it was in Trinidad. All of them gone. She deleted like all of them.
So she's not in Twitter jail.
Oh
no! I see some of her tweets. I see him.
No, I think Twitter said that she wasn't, but there was one other part of this.
No, she's still on fire on here.
The White House basically came out and called her a liar, right? And said that they didn't invite her, whatever. One, why would she lie about that? And two, Fauci was on the Joe Budden podcast. Joe Budden is, a rapper who has a podcast. Mm-hmm. He's pretty popular, but he's nowhere near as popular as Nicki Minaj. So Fauci found his I'll be nice. If Fauci found himself on the Joe Budden podcast, why wouldn't the White House jump out to speak to Nicki Minaj? So they just feel stupid because she aired out their business before they could. They couldn't put their spin on it. But at this point, it's not even about Nicki. It's just about them trying to tell us what to do and to scare the shit out of people, which, I think they've scared as many people as they can. Nobody is operating on fear anymore in terms of like, oh, I'm afraid of the virus, or I'm afraid of the vaccine. At this point, it's just being fearful of not being able to do things at this point. Go to work, supermarkets, can I bank, all these different things that are coming up in connection with the virus. where we are.
Do you see
Yeah,
the Don Lemon clip there?
yeah. Well, hold a second. Move too fast. Hold on. Let's talk about it a little bit before we skip to the next clip. But that's the
Yeah.
reason why they're pushing a lot of this stuff. The real weapon that they have, the biggest weapon that they have, is the propaganda. And the moment that people stop believing the propaganda, that's when things start falling apart. And they can't have Nikki, even if she puts slight doubt out there to say, hey, don't trust the narrative, because they know that most of the people ain't buying the narrative. A lot of people, especially in the black and brown community, are doing it because if you don't do it, you're basically going to lose your job and possibly end up being homeless. That's the reason why most of them are doing it. It's not because they believe in this thing or want to do it. It's because their arm is being twisted. And this whole force that's been going on, they can't have, anybody get to the point of trying to throw them off. If there's that even little like they say in court, if there's that reasonable doubt, they're worried about that. They're trying to close every exit. And I could be wrong. I'm a little bit more paranoid and skeptical of all of these celebrities just in general. Part of me, when I first heard it, I was like, okay, that kind of sounds like a weird side effect. So I started thinking, well, maybe they're having her come out. She's going to throw out something which they can ridicule very easily. And a lot of the people say, oh, yeah, that's definitely silly. That's definitely stupid. And then she can come to the White House, sit down with them, have this back and forth. A lot of people just jump on, pile on. And then she can come back out and say, you know what? Hey, guys, I was completely wrong. I mean, I don't even know why I thought this. This was silly. The research shows that. So that's another way where they can flip somebody in using their propaganda. That's my, I guess, paranoid delusions. I don't know. But
Or she's
that's how
pulling a
I think of
Kanye.
it at this point. Oh, what was that, though?
Or she's pulling a Kanye and she broke her programming for a second and she's glitching out. And then she'll be back to normal in a few days. We don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
She's questioning things for the first time. She's like, what?
She's having an opinion, thinking for herself. Can't have that. No. Nope.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Adam 22. I'm not really familiar. I haven't really known a lot about this dude. But, like, I watched him basically tell another black dude that, it's almost delusional. Why are you questioning this? Why are you questioning that? And I'm like, for one, whether he has more knowledge about this or understands, with this nation's history, how do you just think that black people are just supposed to trust you? How? That's what you're literally saying. Just trust. Just trust. I mean, did we not have these same companies who were supposed to save us? Did they not just start the largest opioid crisis?
Yes.
Were they not just paying record fines for that? And I mean, you don't just have to look at Pfizer. I mean, damn near all of them have had to pay some kind of, billions and billions for lying about their information. I mean, and then to think about that, they literally trot Fauci of all people back out. I mean, we think about he said that there was going to be a vaccination for HIV and AIDS that was going to be fixed. The movie, what is it? The Dallas Buyers Club or whatever. That's what that movie is all about. Those people were trying to. The government had said, "Oh, we're not going to use this treatment," but it turned out to be the treatment that was actually helping people. And so that was a part where the FDA and not really the FDA, I guess FDA and all of them were on the wrong side of issues there, but we don't talk about that. 1979, when the vaccination that came out back then, it came out. Then there were all of these deaths and side effects and everything that came out behind it. And then they're like, oh, okay, we'll pull it back. I'm like, why do we keep just automatically saying, well, got to trust the science? You're not trusting the science. You're trusting bureaucrats. That's a different story. And even like for instance, I for the longest put out literally what the CDC's numbers were. I've had YouTube literally strike our videos down for me using the literal numbers which the CDC is using. And now what they're saying, now they're admitting to, okay, well, it is the percentage that you say, but how they're trying to spin it is they say, oh, well, that's 1 in 500, which that's not even accurate. And then when you go into the fact of how they're counting opioid deaths, which was it the Illinois health one of the Illinois health officials literally said out of her own mouth, and I mean, I guess you guys can take that or not, or YouTube, you guys can play whatever games you want with it. But what was said is, and if that's untrue, then take down that video. But what she said was that even though you had COVID, the way they were counting COVID deaths, it does not mean that you died necessarily from COVID. If you had COVID when you died, you were counted as a COVID death. You could be in a car accident. That's a COVID death because you had COVID at the time. You could have already had pneumonia and then you catch COVID and then they say, oh, well, you died from the pneumonia, but they're saying it's COVID related. You could have cancer and you're terminally ill, about to die. Oh, they had COVID. It's a COVID death. Mm-hmm. These numbers are not even looked into very thoroughly. I mean, you look at what Oxford put out, and it was Oxford, and I can't remember the other university who put out the study, and they're completely skipping over the fact that like 78% of these people who are dying, even in these sketchy numbers, 78% of them are elderly and overweight or immunocompromised. And so, I mean, even in that under 1%, number, which is coming up, it's still not even accurate. And so now they're saying the 99% need to take this experimental drug because a percent of a percent of a percent can possibly die. And here's the thing about it. Good point there. Kelly says, everyone relax. Israel will steer the right direction and tell us what to do. That's the thing. Israel is already talking about their third and fourth booster, but it's not stopping them. It's not stopping, hospitalizations in Israel. You have universities that have literally like 98, 99% of the people vaccinated, but they're still having outbreaks. I mean, it's almost proven at this point that the vaccination is not stopping you from transmitting it. It's not stopping you from catching it either, because we're watching multiple people who have been vaccinated who are still catching it. Why are we being forced to use it? I mean, to take it. And on top of that, this is the new narrative. Well, it's reducing hospitalizations. How in the hell could you even prove that? How can you prove that when it first came out, you had people who were literally, as they say, asymptomatic, or you had some people who were dropping dead instantly? That's showing that it affects different people differently. So you can't just automatically say, well, yeah, it's automatically just helping and it's reducing hospitalizations. What this possibly tells me is, how do you know that this Delta variant or Mu variant or Lu or whatever the hell they want to call it, whatever new variants, how do you know that they actually are more deadly? You don't know that for a fact because there was no vaccinations early to be able to compare the data. You're just saying something. You're saying something which you literally have no way to prove. And I wanted to bring that up because on the Hill, what's her name? Kim Iverson has been doing outstanding coverage. And what you see is punk ass Ryan Grimm, because I've been adding him a lot on Twitter because I want him to respond. He keeps throwing out these conjectures and these possibilities and stuff that he has no way to prove. Even when he gets corrected by their own control booth, they literally say, "No, Kim is right. You're wrong." He still finds a way to keep arguing this. Well, what about this? But it's a possibility. This. You're full of shit, Ryan Grimm. Full of shit. And you were pushed. And at this point, I honestly wish somebody would start investigating Ryan Grimm to figure out if this motherfucker is grifting, if he got some stocks in these things, because the narrative that he's pushing is not matching with science, even though he likes to keep talking about, well, the science. Any science that comes out that contradicts the narrative that he wants to push, he ignores that shit. Just like with this whole FDA thing, which they've been talking about. Then another thing. Why don't they at all want to talk about the the officials from the FDA who are resigning. Why don't we want to talk about that? Why don't we want to talk about why they're resigning? Sorry to get on my little tangent, but yeah. Yeah, what were you saying now?
They were thanked in the video that we'll see later. Not that specific moment, but they thanked them, a couple of members, or one member of the panel that was deciding on the boosters, which we'll get into later. But they did mention Kraus and Gruber. I forgot their fucking name. Sorry. Huber, I think. Huber and Kraus. They did thank them for their hard work and, being on their team and all that shit. Somebody from the FDA. So they were mentioned there. So I don't know what exactly. I think that had something to do with the ending up of the decision, which we'll get into later. No spoilers. But, that Don Lemon clip is pretty insightful.
I was wondering also, Jaylen, my man, you guys have any thoughts on my little mini rants?
Well, I mean, it was just open season on the unvaccinated. It's been open season on the unvaccinated. I mean, they're already, what was the most recent one I've heard? I think it was on Occupy Democrats. They wanted to tie, if you're unvaccinated and you're living in a place, they can evict you, right? They wanted to sling that out. And I'm just like, they will do anything to make sure that they want to punish the unvaccinated. It's just another form of we're just seeing another form of segregation, basically, because everyone's saying, like, if you impose a vaccine mandate, if you impose something on the unvaccinated, who does that hurt? That hurts Black and brown people. The majority of the people who say they don't want to take it. So you can see what they're doing, but they don't want to play it that way. So if you bring it up, you're crazy. If you bring up valid facts that spit in the face of the narrative, that's crazy. So,
or they call us all anti-vaxxers. And it's not even, they're making it like, oh, well, if you don't support, this vaccination, then you're just an overall anti-vaxxer, which there's a difference between being an anti-vaxxer and just not trusting this one. I mean, there's a big difference. This one came out in 6 months. Most of these other vaccinations have come out over numerous times. There's been a lot of research which has been done and put into these things, and they're just trying to blur the lines. It's kind of like, which I know a clip that we're going to get into. Let me see if it's up on the screen. This clip with Don Lemon. He literally in there said, well, I mean, I talked to some of my family and I asked them, well, you got on a plane and that's science. Well, getting on a plane that is, how long have planes been around now? How long have 747s and 757s and all these planes been around? They've been around quite a while. Now I actually tweeted at both of them and I said, hey, Don Lemon, would you get on the Wright brothers' first plane? Because that's kind of what you're asking as far as this vaccination. It's not the same as just getting on a random plane because that's science. You're literally getting on an experimental plane. It's not the same thing. And this is what these liars like to do when they say, well, you're not trusting science. No, we do trust science. But in all science, there has to be enough vetting of the science. There has to be trial and error. You have to figure out the pros and cons. How many times does this work perfectly? How many times does this screw up? And what we're doing is the largest mass experiment of all time. And my thing, I also asked in there, I said, if we all should just willy-nilly take this, then why the hell can any of us sue if there's a problem? If we have side effects, why aren't we allowed to sue? That we're not, I mean, they have, what do they call it? Some kind of immunity. They have a liability immunity. Why is there a liability immunity on it, but you're forcing people to take it? But yeah, we can get on to the clip.
The people who are not getting vaccines, who are believing the lies on the internet instead of science, it's time to start changing them. What else? Or leave them behind. Because they're keeping the majority of Americans behind. You didn't feel that way about the polio vaccine. You don't feel that way about measles, mumps, rubella when it comes to your children. And all of a sudden, this vaccine is different. What's different about it? The only different thing about it is because of your politics today. The people talking about, well, I don't know what's in the shot, Chris. I don't know what's in that shot.
I'll tell you what's not in it. Hold on, tracking device.
Yeah. Let me finish this. You know what they get shots in nowadays? In their rear ends. They're getting shots to make it bigger. But I'm saying, do people really know what's in stuff that they inject in their bodies all the time? And they're like,
hey, Marcus, mute your mute your thing. Finish playing.
What they drink, all the stop it. Stop it with the ignorance. And we have to stop saying, oh, well, you have to listen to people and no, you don't. These people are being harmful to the greater good. You don't have to listen to a minority of people who are being harmful to the greater good and who are not acting on logic, reason, and science. I had an issue. I told you, Chris, when my family was here and they were saying, well, I don't know. I said, you know how you got here to visit me in New York? You took an airplane. What is that? Science. Right? You know why people live to be older than 40, 50, 60 years old these days? Science, medicine. No one questions that. You know why what is so contradictory about it? When people get sick, they go into the hospital and they say, throw it all, give it to me, inject it, put it in me. And you're going to pay a whole lot of money. And you're going to tax the medical system when you could have gotten it for free and you wouldn't be in that position in the first place.
You're going to question the vaccine, but you want to take a horse deworm. But look, here's the thing. I accept everything you've just said. Most of all, the idea that the majority cannot be held by the tyranny of a minority. Their stubbornness has to be their own consequence at some point, and the rest of us have to be able to live life. Now.
Well, I think we all get the gist of how Mr. Donnie here and Mr. Cuomo, what they feel about those of us who haven't taken it. It's so weird. The people
we shame people.
I mean, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you good. I was gonna say the crazy part is like, I'm not taking it. I don't want to take it. Right? I never will take it. If you'd make a decision to take it, that's on you. I'm not hoping something bad happens to you. I just don't want everybody else to be segregated, right? But the people who take it, not all, obviously, but some of the people who are in favor of this are also in favor of like keeping me out of a store or keeping me locked up in the crib and making sure I don't have access to my money. They're crazy. They just don't even realize it. We're the ones like, all right, cool, just leave me alone.
Well, we literally got a black gay man talking about minority rights don't matter. I'm like, how freaking I don't want to say that word. How stupid are you? I mean, if we go back a couple of years ago, you would have been illegal, basically. You felt like the minority was in the wrong then. I mean, when gay rights was not something that was majority of the country. I mean, so you feel like they were right then. You feel like when majority of the country wanted slavery, you felt like that. Well, the majority, we shouldn't be held together by what a minority of tyranny. So I guess the slaves they didn't really matter either. I mean, these people's logic is just insane. I mean, and he's literally talking about like, oh, well, held back, but how are you held back? Literally, how are you fucking held back? In what way? I watched AOC and all them still go out to their Met Gala, and all the staff had to be vaccinated to even work it. They're all still wearing their masks and all that crap like that, while all the celebrities are walking around with no masks on. We watched Gavin Newsom sit up there and have his parties, and no social distancing, no masks, no none of that. We watched Obama, his celebration, no masks, no none of that. We watched Mayor Mariam Bowser, watch her, no mask, no nothing. And so when it comes to the elites, there's no stipulations, no rules, kind of just do whatever the hell you want to. Yep. But then when it's the non-elites, and really this is what's the sad part about it. people like Don Lemon are putting it like, oh, it's some kind of Trumpers and these people are silly. And the fact of how many strawmans he threw up in that whole discussion. Oh, you just getting ass shots and all that. So what you're saying is what? Most of the people who are getting these injections in the ass are the same people who are not taking the vaccination? I'm pretty sure that's very fucking false. Another thing is, I'm surprised that CNN has not gotten a lawsuit by now when they keep on talking about this horse dewormer, because there's a big difference between this goop paste, which they give animals, and between the one which is for humans. They know this, but they're just liars. They're some of the biggest freaking liars they are. And what it is these people are all funded by the pharmaceutical industry. These are the people that keep them with these $1 million paychecks, and that's why they keep pushing this narrative. And that's the reason why, like we talked about earlier, our aunts and uncles and upper generation X, like those two are, and baby boomers are coming down with this more and more pressure campaign because they're listening to people like this. I mean, I put out a video not that long ago about how they've been pressing on the FDA to force this stuff along. This is a small minority who is forcing all of this on everybody. And you have to start asking yourself, why are they forcing this so hard when the results and these consequences and these things they're so scared of are not materializing? Your thoughts, panel?
Yeah, they keep making it like it's the unvaccinated that are just like not doing what they should do, and everybody should just do as they are doing. But they seem so worried about getting the COVID. It's funny because like if your vaccine works, which of course it doesn't, but if it does, then I mean you don't have to worry about ending up in the hospital at least or dead, because you're not going to. And even if you give it to an unvaccinated person, if you hate that person, why would you care if they got vaccinated or not? Like what is the reasoning for hating somebody but wanting them to live, but at the same time wanting them to die? I don't understand their reasoning, how they get to that thinking. That thinking makes no sense. It makes me wonder if these people are fucking zombies or something, because maybe something happened with their brain in the procedure. I don't know. Maybe something got in there. I don't know. With the COVID test, who knows? With the barrier. But like these people just sound all the same. It's just like NPCs in real life, and it's just annoying. And just shut the fuck up. And why do you get to dictate policy? Why does the U.S. president get to dictate policy, and the people behind him, of course, who are propping him up because he's not doing anything? But why do they get to dictate policy and in such a way that it interferes with other people's lives and livelihoods? And we see like all these protests and everything, and like strikes of people who are important. Like there's a construction worker strike right now. I can't remember exactly which country it was on the feed. And they're just like sitting in the street and they're not doing their job because they've been mandated to get a vaccine. If we lose them, who's going to make the buildings, dumbass, that you're going to live in? These elites need to live in a building, right? So who's going to make those buildings? Are they going to get slaves for that again? Or what are they going to do? Like,
well, they only need a small percentage. They only need a small percentage of us.
It'll be automated in a lot of ways, you know. So they really don't. That's what I'm saying. It's the beginning of, you know, not the beginning, because they've always got rid of people, but this is, I shouldn't even say getting rid. This is another step in the transition from human to robot and
transhumanism.
Yeah, that's where we're going. You know, whether the chip is in you or not, or you have a robot. You see the dogs. Go ahead, E.
No, I was going to say, I'm surprised Don Lemon made the comparison of an airplane. I thought he would easily be using what the rest of Twitter uses, seatbelts, right? They were comparing COVID to seatbelts, and I'm like, well, seatbelts have extensive testing. Seatbelts have regular testing. If seatbelts don't work, people who use seatbelts are sued. So that logic doesn't track. And then the polio thing, someone put up an old ass polio card that they got from like way back in the 1940s saying, look, I got my vaccine card right here. Even though like 11 people died during using the polio vaccine, and they instantly yanked it. They weren't continuously giving it out when it stopped working. They instantly yanked it when like 11 people died.
20-something people died in the 1976 swine flu too. Like 25. And they yanked it. They got rid of the vaccine. And there's been reported over 14,000 deaths at fairs, and that's even included in the FDA panel video that we'll get to later. But like, they talk about all of that. They talk about all the adverse events, and you know.
I just love how many straw mans they threw up during that argument. Yeah, I know what's not in it. They're taking like the most extreme conspiracy theory stuff, magnets and all this tracking devices, and throwing it in there to, I mean, build up that straw man to make everybody else's arguments and concerns not valid. I mean, it's disgusting what they're doing at this point. I mean, I've always thought like it's pretty shameless how you guys, you know, cover things. I mean, I remember CNN back, I'll never forget this, when Anna Nicole Smith died. Literally no news mattered. All it was Anna Nicole Smith around the clock for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight. And they hardly covered anything else. This is the same thing.
Because they just wanted to keep showing her titties in part two. They're just ridiculous because, you know, they thirsty.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Peace Dove says Gavin's children have COVID now.
Well, it'd be like that.
Well,
yeah,
you know,
but the difference is we're not going to be like them and wish death.
It furthers the narrative, right? Like, I don't know how old
that narrative.
Right there.
It furthers the narrative, right? So how old are his kids? I don't know, right? But if they are,
I would say below 12, right? 16 below or 12 below or something like that. Then they can push that they need the vaccine. We need to give it to them, right? We need to push that.
Yeah.
That somehow will tie into that later.
I like this comment here. Whipple Dingle says, this guy hasn't got the first clue how even the camera pointed at him works, but he's gonna go throw science at us.
Yes, W.
Yeah.
That's a W for W.
These guys are fucking clowns. I mean, most of the shit that they're doing is they're just reading off of a teleprompter.
Yeah, that was a script. They get their script and they read it, and that's what their job is. They're actors on television pretending to be newscasters. They're not even pretending to be that anymore, but still.
I'm sorry, reading the comments. You guys are hilarious.
No, yeah, I saw that.
I like that.
Shout out to Science.
Oh, go ahead.
Damn, that shit.
No, I was going to say, you know, when what was I gonna say? I said, you know, when Don Lemon was getting real and punching and saying like, "What's wrong with you?" or whatever, realized that he's reading that off of the teleprompter. He realized he's acting. Yes. He's acting woke right there, looking at the teleprompter and getting paid millions to do so. And people are like praising him. I'm like, please get this. Please get that. He's not really like that. And if it wasn't written up there, he would never say anything remotely like that. It's a game. It's all a game.
That's a great point, Emmanuel. Excellent point. You know, because most people would just think that he's speaking from a place of concern, right? Like, oh, I'm concerned about society. Get your vaccine. Like, no, bitch, you read the lines. Like,
you don't give a shit.
Do as I say, not as I do, peasants.
Oh yeah,
that's
exactly what they are.
But, you know,
I really wish I could meet him in person. I would definitely call him Fredo to his face so fast. And then dare him to tell me that it's a racist insult. Now, there is a name like that I remember back in the day. Like if you called an Italian person Giuseppe, yeah, that was considered a racist thing, but not Fredo. I mean, are you serious?
I thought Guido was bad too.
Guido too. Guido's one too.
Yeah.
Those were definitely considered racist.
I guess that's because of The Godfather.
Well, no,
Which was
it's
made
just
by
because,
gangsters, actually.
in all honesty, like I lived in Italy, and Giuseppe and Guido are very, very typical names. It's like being John or Mike. And so they just called every person of Italian descent Guido, Giuseppe. And that was kind of like one of the little slurs. It's the same thing where most Latino people, they'll call him Jose, Paco. That's kind of that thing there.
Yeah, I figured. Should we get to the FDA thing?
Sure. Let's see. What was let's see if there was any other comments that we needed to catch.
But it's kind of like what they're going to do with the. So going back to E's comment in relation to Gavin Newsom's children having the virus supposedly, right? Just like how they're going to use that to push that on kids and to highlight the importance of the kids needing to be inoculated, right? It's the same thing with these. It's the same thing with the booster shots, like, oh no, we're ruling against it. We don't think it's necessary. But the government is already moving ahead, suggesting booster shots. So there's a nasty game being played here. They're kind of like, it's kind of good cop, bad cop. Government bad, they want to force booster shots. FDA good, they're talking about hesitancy and how we don't need it. Watch, they already said for over 65-year-olds, you should get it. They said, if you're 16 under, it's not recommended for the rest of us, right? So with that being said, it's just a matter of time before they reverse course on the booster shots and say, this population, us, our group, right, age group, should also get the booster shot. It'll be sometime. It'll be sometime next year.
Well, I mean, Chris, I kind of don't really even see it that much like a good cop, bad cop. I kind of look at it as the FDA is being kind of pushed along by the CDC. And so even though they're like, well, I mean, we'll do this, we think this, and CDC's like, no, bitch, you're going to do this. And oh, well, but how about this? And they're like, no, I told you you're going to do this. And then the FDA is like, okay, I give. And then you see a couple of people leave the FDA in protest. And then next thing you know, the FDA does it. And so they're kind of, in my perspective, I could be wrong, but it almost seems like they're having their arm twisted the same as a lot of these other people are having their arms twisted.
Well, they also were funded by the big pharma companies, so Pfizer has a lot to do with them, and so they don't want to upset them too much. I tried to screen share something, but I don't know if it went through, of the kids. The kids.
Okay,
Gavin's
kids.
kids.
Letting me.
Well, I put it in the chat if it doesn't work. Oh, there we go.
Oh, what is it? I can't really see it.
Two of California Governor Gavin Newsom's, because I fact check, children test positive for COVID-19. And it's, let's see how old they are here.
It must say it.
I doubt it.
Money would say their ages.
The governor's children tested positive for COVID-19. Spokesperson Aaron Mellon said in a statement on Friday night, the governor, the first partner, and the other two children have since tested negative. The family is following all COVID protocols. The Newsoms continue to support masking for unvaccinated individuals indoors to stop the spread and advocate for vaccinations as the most effective way to end this pandemic. Were they masked? They're under the age of 12, all four of his children.
See,
and
there you go.
Are not eligible for vaccination.
Like we just said, see, we didn't even we didn't even know their ages, but we just made we made the assumption that they weren't sure enough. They're at an age where they can't get the vaccine. So
age 10 and 11.
Exactly.
How convenient.
Yep.
Probably not even true.
Which they remind me of.
Of course, they had to put mild symptoms as well, right? Because no celebrity, for the most part, well, I won't say none, but you know, it's my kids have it, but they're okay. So if they have it, why are you pushing the vaccine for everybody else? Whatever.
And they're isolated for 14 days. That whole thing again.
Oh, before we get to your FDA story, I wanted to bring up this because this is something that the governor is fighting also. In New York and in California, the emergency responders both have lawsuits. So that would be the New York Police Department and Fire Department, also the LA Police Department and Fire Department. Both have lawsuits against their governors about this forced mandate of taking the vaccinations for law enforcement. So you might start seeing, a possible mass exodus of law enforcement agents pretty soon also, because I just have a feeling that they're going to struggle to win this because of so much corruption that I feel like goes on in the government. We also got to keep in mind that literally Joe Biden, who was called the senator from Indiana, probably literally the most corrupt politician that we've had since like the Teapot Dome scandal. This is the same person who is telling us, oh no, this is really for everybody's best interest. And remember, this motherfucker is the most corrupt person that we've had, bar none, in that office in probably 50 to 60 years. The most corrupt. I don't. People could talk about Trump. People could talk about Bush. This dude right here is the most corrupt, and everybody is trusting exactly what he's saying and taking him as fully credible. And the media is sitting up there parroting his words like it's the damn gospel. At some point, people need to start paying attention to what the hell's going on here. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
They do.
Isn't he from Delaware? I don't think he's from Indiana.
Yeah, he was a senator from Delaware. That's where most of the credit card companies are. That's the reason why they're there, because Biden literally played defense for them in every single way. I mean, we go through the bankruptcy laws, all these different things. Biden's hand is on all of this crap. The way that they charge student loans, the way they do this, he's literally been an enemy to the working class, primarily black and brown people, but anybody who's been working class, no matter your race, gender, creed, whatever religion, he has been the biggest enemy against you. And it just blows my mind how so much of the people who were his biggest offenders are the people who he screwed over the most.
Yep. And he also was creepy with children. We can't forget that. And he was creepy again on 9/11. On 9/11, he fucking held a 12-year-old by the waist in a picture. Have you seen that picture?
No, but we don't need to bring it up. I mean, everybody knows he's a creep.
But he was so creepy. And then he was with a bunch of Trump kids. They were all wearing Trump regalia, supportive of Trump. And he's just holding this girl close to him. It's so awkward. What's that?
Can you guys hear her?
I hear Elle.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Okay. Yeah, there was this weird picture of him holding this girl, and then she went on Newsmax of all things. I hate that place, but she went on there and talked about it. I haven't even watched that video, but we could watch that.
That's the thing. Once you go on Newsmax, the way that our dumbass partisan, I guess environment that we're in, if you go on Newsmax, if you go on Fox, if you go on anything that's considered a Republican station, it's automatically completely discredited everything that you say. And so, I mean, we're dealing with, especially the Democratic Party. I mean, and I blame this on, honestly, I'm just going to call it how I see it. The black and brown community have been so intellectually lazy for so long. They just try whatever the Democrats say, it's the gospel, and they just go with it. They don't question anything. It's Republican bad, Democrat good. And then even when the Democrats are screwing up shit, there's always an excuse. Well, Obama couldn't get this because of that. AOC couldn't get this because the Republicans are really stopping this, and they couldn't do this. Newsmax is on. I don't know that for a fact, but I would not doubt it, Brian. I would not
It's
doubt it.
perfect controlled opposition, that's for sure.
Oh
And
yeah,
it makes
AOC is
them look
completely
stupid
controlled.
too.
And the reason, and I'll tell you what AOC is selling out for. AOC is selling out so she can be the next senator from New York. That's what she's selling out for.
They all want to get to the top. They have to trample a few people to get there, but it's worth it in the end. And then it's not, and then they
Or
regret
sell
it,
your soul
and then
a
it's
little
too
bit.
late.
Or sell out is just sell your soul to get there. I mean, they say, well, either all the stuff that, and at this point now, I almost wonder if she wasn't controlled opposition from the start. Like, if this wasn't astroturfed, to infiltrate her in, and at this point, I'm starting to even question, what is it, Justice Democrats and all that from the start, not it eventually got co-opted, like Black
They
Lives
still
Matter.
email me. I'm so sick of it. Like, how do you get rid of them? Because I've tried to unsubscribe, which I never subscribed to begin with, but they keep sending me emails, and I can't get rid of their fucking asses. Fuck off. Go vax yourself. That's my new thing. Instead of go fuck yourself, I say go vax yourself.
I think somebody did a review in the AOC's history, and no one could understand how someone who I think she interned with Kennedy and just the whole list of appointments and hobnobbing with various people and going to Ivy League school that she ended up just being a regular, ended up being a bartender, and then being being catapulted to this representative wonderkin. So I'm not surprised. Doesn't surprise me.
I never believed her.
Mr. Street says, if you want to hear just a little bit of the dirt, listen to CNN when there's a Republican. Listen to Fox when there's a Democrat in office. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's the only time you're getting some actual truth.
Yep.
And
when
what you see,
when one can punch down the other.
Yeah, the consistent narrative that you see is both of them are full of shit. That's the consistent narrative.
And hypocrites.
Oh yeah, complete hypocrites.
Super hypocritical.
And of one mind on specific policies and issues, almost lockstep with each other. They'll do their little fighting back and forth. Yep. This one's bad for this reason. This one's bad for that reason. But the minute, it's about money or war or, sacrificing civil liberties, lockstep. Almost.
And they all have dinners together and events.
Know each other, have dinners together.
Probably fuck each other. Who knows?
I don't think about that, but oh yeah, there was something that Peace Dunk said earlier, and was saying that hopefully that the younger generation will be the generation where things start changing around. In all honesty, our parents, because of them being asleep at the wheel this whole time, they've given away most of the power. They've given away all our leverage. And so now as things get more and more high tech, they have more and more ways to marginalize us, control us, and stop us from doing anything, stop us from organizing. I mean, literally, I was on the phone with Chris talking about something, and then as soon as I open up Google, it pops up the damn story that we're talking about. I mean, and this is darn near everything that we do. They have so much more control over.
That just happened 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, I want to say.
There's so much control that they have now. It's kind of like, and I listen to all of these other platforms like, oh yeah, we can get the whatever the blah 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 party, and yeah, if we just do this and we do that and we go and march around, and that ship is sailed. That ship is so sailed. I was on somebody else's platform and they were talking about, oh, but we just go up to Davos and we just stand out there and we start protesting and doing this. I'm like, you realize that the people at Davos, they fly in on choppers. They don't even go past the people who are protesting.
Look, you know what? We just need to get shirts, jackets, and the girls can wear skirts and dresses that say tax the rich or climate change on the dresses. And we just
That
show up
makes a
to all
huge
these
difference.
events and everything gonna be good, hopefully
I would like to go on record and say that that was the most useless bot slogan I've ever seen in my entire life.
Ugh.
And the people who called tax the rich and said, yo, she's just gonna do that, and then she's gonna start selling cups and mugs and shirts and t-shirts with that literally like the next day. And nobody believed it. They were like, oh, she's really gonna tax the rich, she's really gonna stick it to them. And then sure enough, next day, all that merchandise came out. Was all just for that, just to sell merch, and nobody, and the majority of them just didn't get it. And
look, even if the goal wasn't to sell merch, just that being one of the side effects, one of the unintended consequences of that, right? That's a win-win for them. But they have no imagination, tax the rich. And they made such a big deal about it. That's like,
right. I mean, isn't the rich already taxed? They're already taxed,
yes,
right?
that's not the issue.
Right.
Well,
I'm like,
yes and no. Certain rich are still not being taxed at all, but they're never going to be taxed. I mean, here's the issue. If you got a Democratic Senate, Democratic House, and a Democratic president, and you're still trying to fight to get this done, that proves this shit's never going to happen. All this is talk. This is she wore that on the dress. This reminds me of when Pelosi did the rip up the Trump speech. This reminds me of when they took the knee for George Floyd. I mean, this is just all token wokeism. That's all it is. It's because you're not going to get anything, but we can show we really care and we can talk a lot of. It's the same thing what Bernie does. Bernie's like, oh, we'll tax the billionaires and we're going to tax the rich and we're going to tax Jeff Bezos and Amazon. He talks about taxing them, but he doesn't literally talk about any of the people who are over them, who really are rocking and controlling things. And you cannot tell me that this dude has been in Congress all of these years and don't know who the people who are really moving things.
Oh, he knows.
All nonsense.
Oh, he definitely.
They're all playing roles.
So nonsense. Shilling nonsense.
But you know what? I did want to say, maybe we could talk about this. I didn't read everything, but talking of money, and I see Kelly's comment, about the $400,000, right? Well, you guys think about the IRS starting to peek into people's accounts who have over $600 in it. What about that?
Mm-hmm.
Rich people get a loophole. Bet money on that one. That'll only affect the working class. It's only a rule that affects the working class. That's what they want. Yes. They want to stick it to the. They want to stick it to the working class. That's all.
This is that getting into that pre-crime, Minority Report shit. This is how they're keeping track of everybody. This is what Edward Snowden was warning about these years ago. This is the kind of stuff that Julian Assange was talking about in Commander X. This is all the things that they've been talking about. And now because everybody's been distracted with everything else, it's too late. It is just too late. And what's going to happen is it's going to get to that point where they're going to, that switch is eventually going to, this is kind of the little soft build up. And then we're going to start seeing the jumps. And it's going to start really advancing. And this is what you see in most fascist takeovers. It starts little bit by little bit by little bit. And then the major jumps happen. And at that point, it's too late. You're not gonna be able. There's gonna be no coverage of it, and you're gonna be just black banned away when you say the wrong things. You're gonna be completely censored off. I mean, we already see it with Twitter. We literally will DM each other, and it doesn't. It will stop us from putting DMs to each other.
Oh wow! When did that start
Let's talk
happening?
about Twitter. I'm ready.
Yeah, I was like, we need to go into that because I didn't even know they
you see signs. You see signs comment if you believe in. Yeah, That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
That part is true.
Science they majored in
But you know
pre-crime.
what's funny? Do you know what's funny is that Biden and his administration and the IRS is saying how they want to be able to track money and to make sure that the wealthy pay their fair share of taxes. No, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the Panama Papers and the Paradise Papers come out years ago showing names, companies, the law firms that did it, where the money is hidden? It's all right there. So if you really wanted to go after tax evaders, just go to the internet, type in Panama Papers or Paradise Papers, and you would know where to go. But now you need to get into my bank account and to your bank account and to everybody's in the chat's bank accounts to make sure the wealthy pay their fair share taxes. That doesn't make a lick of sense.
Well, think about what they're actually doing. Literally, the IRS is worried about all of us. Hey, Marcus, you owe $1,500 to the IRS. We got to go after you. We're about to garnish your wages, all this. And so they go after all of us. If you file, you might have just filed one thing the wrong way, and now you got to pay in taxes. Now you're screwed. But these companies can get away with not paying billions, and they don't give a shit about that. But it's all you owe 500, you owe 400, you owe 1,000. We're the criminals now. And all this is just a way to start going after and finding excuses to start marginalizing us. That's all this is about.
Yep. And look at the debt clock. I'm trying to share it. Hold on.
Well, that's what that now. Kelly says now I want to watch Minority Report. I love the little crazy balls that warn about crime. I mean, that's what they're gonna have. It's gonna be let's just throw out a random person. Let's say John is married to Joni, and they've had a big fight. John has found out Joni's been cheating. Now John is pissed off. They've already tracked that he went to the liquor store. They already know that he has a concealed weapon. They're listening to him talk to his buddy Chris and tell him about, man, I'm so pissed off, man, I want to hurt this. And then they track all that information. Then they're going to start sending the cops straight over to your house. And just because you have the gun in your car and you've been drinking, now you are going to kill her. That's the deduction that they're going to come to. Because if you look at it, the United States has already did that with other nations. Oh, we have to do a preemptive strike. We have to strike them before they do something. And so what that did is it loosened up our populations and our restraints against, well, maybe that's okay to go after it before it happens. So when they start doing it to us on the small scale, there's not going to be any pushback.
Marcus, do you see that? I shared the screen. They owe so much fucking money. It's ridiculous. Are you fucking kidding me? They want to take our taxes. Like, I owe nothing compared to trillions and trillions of dollars from the government. And now they want to raise the ceiling again, the debt ceiling, so that they don't go into default or something on all their loans or whatever. And then they want to give me an email saying I owe money starting in January 2022 on my student loans. What the fuck? Look at your debt and look at mine and tell me which one's worse.
Well, the thing about it is all that's there for is an excuse to extract money out of us. That's what that's there for. And so they can say, oh, we need to get this tax money. We need to get this tax money to pay down the debt. When all they got to do is literally go after and charge taxes on the people who they're not, and they can clear this shit up in a couple of years. But they don't want to. They use this as a weapon to keep extracting money out of the lower class. Eventually, that puts you into, and another thing, even if they're not extracting the money and putting you down into a lower class, it's always constantly putting that axe basically above your neck where, hey, we still, we can come at you at any point. That's what that's about, so that you're not going to push back.
Just look at it go up. The numbers keep going up. It's insane.
Abolish
fuck
slavery.
is
Oh
wrong?
shit! In the 21st century, we still haven't abolished torture and slavery. Nope.
Nope.
I know this is off
Not at
topic,
all.
but I know this is a little off topic and just out of left field, but I just saw something that made me think of it. What do you guys' thoughts on this situation with a homie who drove cross country and left his girl in Wyoming?
I don't even know about it. Fill us all in.
Right. Tell us more.
Oh, okay. I don't know. So it was just a couple were on a they went on a trip, cross country trip, stopping at national parks across the country. So the guy drove back in his girlfriend's van from Wyoming to Florida, to North Florida, and didn't come back with his girlfriend. Didn't say that she wasn't in the van. I think 10 days went by before they reported her missing. So now they got this big hunt going on in Wyoming for this 22-year-old girl. But I didn't know if you guys were paying attention to it. I don't know if anybody in the audience was paying attention to it. It's one of those Entertainment Tonight type of stories. So I just saw something that made me think of it. But sometimes it's
That almost sounds like what's that annoying ass lady? I think she was on CNN. That blonde lady who would always get all looking worked up. Like, and we have another missing woman, and it's always,
Nancy Grace.
always, what's her name?
Always a white chick. Yeah, Nancy Grace.
Yes, that
Nancy
lady.
Grace.
It's always a white woman within roughly like early 20s to about mid 30s. Always. I mean, I remember the whole Precious Grace story. She talked about it like once, and that was it. But it's always another missing white girl that's going to be the head of her story over and over and over. It's like nobody else ever goes missing. I mean,
They
it's
do.
kind of well. Here's the thing about it. Especially like Native American women are never ever brought up. But you know how many of them go missing? I mean, per capita, they're the highest amount of women who are kidnapped or that just literally go missing. They're the highest per capita. It's never, ever, ever mentioned.
They don't care.
Oh, because this is
not even
like I said, this is that same group of people at the top. They only care about. I'm sorry to say it this way, but this is how it kind of shakes out. This is the white neoliberal left versus the white neoliberal right. And they only care about issues that happen within their community.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm. And another crazy part of the story is that they just reported that the boyfriend has been missing for 3 days. Well, not missing. He's on the run for 3 days now. They don't know where he is. So as soon as he got back from his trip, he lawyered up, didn't talk to anybody, and now he's gone for the last 3 days. So it'll be on informative more. Yes, it most likely will. That's where this
it's going to turn into some, what is it? A&E. A&E's wrong. It's going to be an A&E movie.
Yeah.
Another Lacey Peterson story. Yeah,
that's what they're trying to do.
Story.
I mean, well, you got to remember, Biden right now is kind of like, they're like, okay, Mr. Alzheimer's, we can't really put him on camera that much anymore. So we got to have something juicy for us to talk about. Trump, after they got Trump off Twitter, now we can't use him as the bad guy. So they tried Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now they're trying to figure somebody else. And none of these people are working to get their ratings up. So they got to find something to boost these ratings. And what a lot of people don't realize is Rachel Maddow is, once she steps away from MSNBC, watch their ratings tank even more. I mean, not that she's worth a damn, but she's one of the few people which they literally tune in to watch. And so once she goes away, you're going to start seeing these ratings dip even more. So they got to try to find another juicy story to talk about. And yes, Variant, that is a fact. Along with a lot of the rape that goes on, which that's another story they don't talk about on the reservations. There's a lot of And that's something that's been thought about with the tribal communities and the federal government, that they should be able to have jurisdictional law to go after these people. Because a lot of times they know who the perpetrators are, but because they go off, because they're not on the reservation, they can't apprehend them and bring them to justice. And that's something the American government is doing, protecting abusers and rapists, and in some cases, literal murderers.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But
you
they
brought
care
up
about it.
Marjorie. You brought up Marjorie Green. Did you see her tweet this evening?
No, I didn't.
To Ilhan Omar. Did you see it?
No, I
No.
only saw the 50 caliber that 50 caliber Twitter where she
I'll be right back.
painted socialism
Look.
where she
Look
painted
up Marjorie.
socialism on the side of the
If you can look up Marjorie
she
Taylor's tweet. I want to see if she really did say what they said. I don't want to jump out and say she said it, but I think she called Ilhan Omar brotherfucker on Twitter today.
I'm looking.
She's always saying stuff like that. She's just a blonde Trump clown.
Controlled opposition.
Right? She's just a new clown. Right? She's just a new clown to humor the masses because Trump.
I don't see anything from about Ilhan here. Just moving to impeach the president. That's it.
I saw the 50 cal.
Yeah, I saw that.
The campaign thing where she shot the car with a 50 caliber gun and decided to hand it out as a reward or something, like hand out one of those guns as a reward or something like that after she blew up the car. It's ridiculous. She's just a clown, and she's from my state. She's a clown.
Yeah. But if they have her trying to impeach the president, he'll never get impeached. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Exactly.
What they're doing,
That's the point.
They're doing a great job on both sides of keeping people stuck on their Republican shit or on their Democratic shit. And, until we're able to break more people out of there, we're going to be faced with the same shit. But I wanted to say we're at the point now where you can't even worry about other people. Right, you just have to start taking care of your own and your own circle, and doing things that make sense for you all. Forget trying to save the nation. Forget even trying to save your state, right, or your city. Just take care of your own people. Start trying to. We were looking at an article earlier talking about them putting the RNA vaccine into the lettuce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, that shit was.
Yeah, that was what Sky Daddy put that out.
Yeah,
yep, she did.
And it's kind of like, yo, go grow your own shit. No matter, you remember, you don't have to feed the entire community. You just got to take care of your own. Hopefully, though, through those actions, people will start to adjust accordingly. Great. And if not, then it is what it is. Just make sure that you start looking at taking care of your own.
Because, goes into, I guess you probably should have added in, that goes into that response. Which I saw what you told, what was it? Imhotep, I can't remember his name.
Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus, yeah. He's talking about, well, what can we do at this point? You guys have waited way too fucking long to start asking what the hell we're going to do.
Yeah.
Waited way too damn long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I tell people, you don't have to necessarily believe in religion or all that, in the daisy and that stuff, but literally, on just what the scientists say, climate change, everything's going to start going to shit within what they said, like 10 years, any damn way. So,
well, they say that all the time.
Well, but we're starting to see more and more signs that this is actually really happening.
And there's geoengineering at play, and I think they are using a lot of cards that they didn't use before with the hurricanes and everything. And earthquakes and whatnot.
Here we go. Marcus,
they have a lot of control over the environment.
I'm gonna try to I'll put it in the chat. Here we go. Marcus, just check my screen real quick.
Yeah, I don't have anything here yet.
You give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, Brian, they are trying to engineer it into the lettuce. And then Jimmy G it's going to go through some kind of mandate. Like remember how they were talking about the beef, where they had, what is it, the I can't remember what it's like, the cloned meat, and they were making a big deal about trying to get it passed where there's no warning on if the meat is actually cloned meat or actual beef, like actual real beef. And
Mark it
so
up with the screen up.
that's going into that same thing with the lettuce. I guarantee you there's going to be some legislation to stop you from knowing if it's actual regulated lettuce that's grown from normal fields, or if it's going to be this GMO'd engineered crap, which most of it's GMO'd anyway, but you get what I'm saying.
And as
Yeah,
you
now
can
they
see,
like
that's from
GMOs.
today. That is from today. So let me I'll put this in the private chat. L, can you share it with the can you put it in our group in the chat for everybody else, so in case they want to look at it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would have found that anyways.
I mean, of course,
excellent.
but just anybody else who, just for quick reference.
No, I
But
mean,
of
I would
course-
have found that without the link. I would have found that.
But it's just a matter of
Oh, sorry. I just want to say this real quick. Whipple Dingle, Weedle Puffin. I'm gonna probably do a live stream tomorrow talking about the Matrix and stuff like that. That reminded me when you talked about blotting out the sun. But yes, I'm gonna go into. I don't know. I might just. It depends on how far I get on it. There's so many notes and things that I mean, so much that I've seen. And I'm going to probably go into some of that and probably some other predictive programming. So make sure to check that out tomorrow. I'll try to put it up early enough so in case the notifications come in a little delayed, that you guys will know when I'm going live. So more than likely, it'll probably be about like noon Pacific, which that'll put it around maybe 3. What is that? 3. What are that? 3, 4 Eastern. I don't know. I'll try to coordinate it so it's not around the time where football is on, or most of the football games are on. So that's it. You guys can go.
But as you can see, there's this little clip here, which it says, our idea is to repurpose naturally occurring nanoparticles, namely plant viruses, for gene delivery to plants. Like, I mean, that should just tell you right there if they doing that to plants, what the fuck you think they're doing that? What they're doing to us? You know what I'm saying? Or what they will be. I mean, we already know they are, but you could just imagine what tomorrow has in store. So you're better off just making sure you learn how you get a green thumb sooner than later, because you're gonna have to.
Mm-hmm.
No, it'll be says what I've been thinking with Mark Sage. Actually, no, it'll be on this channel. I'll do it on this channel.
Could we get back to Twitter? Because I really have some bones to pick with them.
Why? What about Twitter?
Well, you guys probably don't know, but we got into some trouble on Twitter. A couple of us, Marcus and myself, we got on their bad
Yeah,
side.
I saw that.
So they punished us. They put us in a corner for a few hours.
Yeah, with me, they're not. They shouldn't be surprised. I'm always in trouble with Twitter.
I'm not. So this is so surprising for me because get this, guys. You guys won't believe this. This is the most hilarious thing. Guess the reason that I got kicked off Twitter and admonished by them and told to delete a tweet. Guess what it is. I want to see the guesses in the comments because it wasn't what you probably think. Because I know I share a lot of information about the vaccine stuff and other stories, but I doubt you would even guess what the hell I got put in Twitter jail for. Any guesses?
My money's on you curse somebody out.
I did not.
You just said the wrong. Oh.
After it, I did.
No, I got in trouble for that.
No, I know you did. I'm just guessing else.
Actually, I want to share while we're having people guess why Elle got her suspension. I'll tell you guys my well, the second one wasn't that bad. It shouldn't have been that bad. The first one, I'll say maybe, with their new policies, yeah, I'm not surprised. But I still think it's funny as shit anyway. I told somebody, why don't they go castrate themselves with a rusty blade?
Yikes.
Yeah, you guys.
That's what he said.
So
Yeah,
I mean, hey, you guys know where I grew up, people talk to each other blunt. So I'm not used to this Demolition Man, Raymond Cocteau, pussy way of talking to each other and being all tiptoed. And let's be careful and let's not hurt each other's feelings. Fuck your feelings. I don't care about your feelings. If you don't like it, don't read it, bitch.
Guys, so nobody guessed. Pedophilia is bad. Yeah, that's my whole pinned tweet, really. But no, that didn't do it. I used an insensitive pronoun. No, I used an insensitive word according to Twitter, to the Twitter safety people who really want to save us from pedophilia. And that's why they closed down every account that has pictures on it. Yeah. And they didn't get sued for not doing that at all.
Oh, yeah. The second
let me go off on Twitter, please.
I was going to say, the second one that I got my ban for, this one I didn't really deserve. I thought this was some bullshit. But I said, basically I said something to the effect of, with all the shit that has happened between whites and blacks, all the shit that has been done over history, you still have most of the people shooting up schools are damn white people. I said, all the shit that's been done, and we're not going out there shooting you guys up. I was like, so why look at us like we're so evil? All we're doing is talking. Your people are the ones doing actions. So when you point out white violence, oh, that's a problem.
You promoted violence, man.
Yeah, that's what they said. I was promoting violence. I wasn't promoting violence. I was saying that, you know what? Even with all the fucked up shit y'all done, shooting up churches, because it had something to do with the Dylan Roof thing. Shooting up black churches, all the violence done, and all we do is take it on the chin. I mean, in that tweet, I even said, literally what was it? That police officer that shot the kid in his own apartment down in Texas. The church is literally trying to get her out of prison. That's what I'm saying. Our side, even no matter how much fucked up shit they keep doing to us, we still keep saying, hey, let's forgive, let's forget. And I'm saying that their side is the one who are being the assholes. Their side is the one that's like, oh, hell no, we need to go shoot up some people. Not us. Because outside of what was that Lee Malvo situation in Virginia where he was actually doing some kind of crazy shit to go after an ex, how many other black mass shooters are there out there? Well, Christopher Dorner, but he was shooting at cops. So I'm not gonna, let me shut up before that gets me in more trouble. But let's just say I'm not really. Damn, I don't even know what to say on that. We'll just say, good old Uncle Chris Dorner.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
I'm looking for something.
Oh, Elle, did you want to get to your FDA story? We're getting kind of long in the tooth on the show.
Oh yeah. Well, since no one guessed, it was for this. Hold on. I said a bad thing. Okay, so what happened was there was a thread with the president speaking so eloquently in front of some reporters, and pre 9/11. I think this was on the 10th. I don't know, but yeah, I think it was on Monday. So no, that's not right. Never mind. I don't know when the fuck it was, but anyway. he was speaking to some people and he didn't make sense. And I pointed out that he didn't make sense, or somebody pointed out that he didn't make sense. And then somebody else was like, oh, he makes perfect sense. And then shared a C-SPAN link to the video. And then I watched the video and then I shared it on my account. And I said, people actually think this makes sense, that he makes sense. And I showed like a picture of him, like indiscernible in the like captions. That's what it was saying, because they didn't even understand, like the caption people didn't even understand what he was saying in this speech. I mean, whatever the hell he was saying. And he even like threatened to box Trump and all this stuff. It was very weird. And so then I basically was in the thread, and this person came in and was like, oh, where's the video or whatever. I'm sure it's not what it seems, you know, because it was like one of these Trump supporters who had tweeted it out. And then I shared the video, and I basically just said, knock yourself out, as you say. And, you know, it's an idiom. So I don't know. But Twitter took it seriously and said that I was promoting suicide and self-harm and put me on a lockdown at 1:26 a.m. that day. And then when I tried to show the screenshot of them saying that I promoted suicide and self-harm, they immediately, before I finished the tweet, locked me out again and gave me 12 hours on top of that. So I was in a big timeout this time. And they didn't let me do anything but browse a little bit and do the DMs and everything. So I was like crazy in the chat. Like, what the fuck? Like, we can't even say idioms anymore. Like, what is wrong with these snowflakes? So it was just crazy insane. And that's just what I wanted to say about that. Yeah, it's not my agenda, but I think it was because I was making fun of the president, and you can't do that, I guess. And then it looked like, I guess they assume that people are just mean to each other all the time in tweets, but like I'm not. So I would never tell someone to kill themselves. Fun fact, I have been suicidal before, so I would never wish it on anyone else. And that's just not my thing. So I'm just putting that out there. So you guys know that what I'm about. I'm about love and peace and all that good stuff. So anyway, I don't know why I stay on Twitter, because I want to share information. That's the only reason. It says in my bio that I share shit on this, or I share stuff on this. I find the truth and I share it on this shithole website. Sometimes I find the truth and I share it on this shithole website. That's how I feel about it. Speaking of shithole websites, so FDA, bought by Pfizer and everybody else, had a video that went viral. You might have heard of a couple of parts of it, from the 4-hour mark and 12 minutes of the 8-hour video that they so that they released yesterday, which was to promote the boosters, or to approve the boosters for however many people. And they ended up approving it through an EUA for 65 and older and high-risk people, whoever that is. So anyway, they did this whole virtual meeting that got interrupted multiple times because of technical issues. And they were talking to certain people. So what's going around is that there's a part at the 4-hour and 12-minute mark that a gentleman is on, and he is from the FDA, and he's exposing the elephant in the room and everything. This is a gentleman who called in. They accept an open hearing of like whatever people want to say, to have that preponderance of evidence before going forward with the boosters or not, like with the voting. So they don't vote until way later. So what's going out there right now is information from somebody who's not involved in the FDA, but they're people are misrepresenting him as that. So I just wanted to clear that up for all of the conspiracy realists in the room, and also show a clip from this thing real quick, from where they were actually voting on it, where a gentleman, doctor, I don't know his name, I forgot it, but he questions Pfizer about the vaccine. So just real quick, if we could just watch that clip, that would be great, and I'll share it in the chat, and then we can be done, because I know we got to wrap it up. But I just wanted to share that real quick. This is kind of interesting.
I don't see it in the chat yet.
Oh yeah, I just put it in there.
Oh,
It's
all right.
just a few minutes, just to hear him question the Pfizer people, because it's a valid question that we've been talking about.
I'm just moving to it right now. I think this is it. Yeah, I have it. All right, cool.
I'm quick. Don't y'all worry.
Just speaker on.
I know how to be quick.
Where
Oh yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me see where it was. Where am I? 5:22. 5 hours 22.
You said it's at 5:22.
Correct. 5:22:00.
All right. Thanks. Let me turn. I just want to make sure I get my sound correct for everybody so they can hear. Yeah, I just want to make sure. But this is now, just in case people forgot or didn't hear, Al, what video is this again?
This is a virtual meeting about boosters being approved by the FDA for the Comirnaty vaccine from Pfizer and BioNTech. But it was only approved, and this is why, a little bit, for 65 and older, because there were so many safety, so little safety data and evidence of it being beneficial. So basically the risks outweigh the benefits for most people, according to the FDA panel.
All right. I'm just trying to hook up my speaker so you guys can hear it, but I'm having a technical difficulty with my Bluetooth right now.
They have a lot of those.
Because if I could play it, if I play it, it's going to be low. See, can anybody hear that?
I can't.
I can.
Oh, okay.
I can share it in the chat for you guys too.
Individuals 16 years of age and older. Today's meeting and the topic were announced in the Federal Register notice that was published on September 7, 2021. I would like to introduce and acknowledge the excellent contributions of the staff in my division and the great team I have in preparing for this meeting. Ms. Kathleen Hayes is my co-DFO, providing excellent support in all aspects of preparing for and conducting this meeting. Other staff who have contributed significantly are Ms.
Are you saying you said
Yeah, they're saying it's echoing.
All right,
Brandon said it's echoing.
All right, can you guys mute?
Monique Hill, Dr. Janet Devine, and Ms. Christina Wett, who provided excellent administrative support.
No, the 522 is where we start here.
To Mike Kaczynski in facilitating the meeting today. Also, our kudos to many FDA staff.
Oh, 5 hours, 22 minutes?
Yes, 5 hours and 22 minutes. Sorry. It's a long one.
Yeah, I was about to say.
When you're working with complex models, I apologize to the voting members for cutting into their time with this discussion. I'll next call on Dr. Kurilla.
Is there still an echo?
Thank you, Arnold. This is a question for the Pfizer team.
I think it's pretty clear.
All right, yeah. Sorry, Al, but the feedback is real bad. I'm getting messages that it's really bad. But anyway.
It's ironic because they had a lot of issues with that too.
Is there still an echo?
Yeah, how about Al? Just tell them what it says in there. Just tell them what we need to hear in there. I mean, we don't necessarily have to hear it from the clip. I mean, we know that that's what was said.
Okay,
Probably
I'll
would
share it
save
in
us some
in
liability
the
or
chat.
whatever too if you just said it. Or
They were asking if there's so much trouble with the vaccine already, and there are so many breakthrough cases and everything, how would the booster help anything? I mean, what's that going to really do for most of us, basically? And they couldn't really answer. Also, they got cut off a lot with the technical difficulties. The Pfizer people, it was kind of funny. We've hardly ever heard from them the whole time, but they kept mentioning them. They're like, "Hey, Pfizer, cut in here." And they're like, "Oh, the mics, too many mics and everything, so many issues." I feel like this thing could have been 5 hours long, but they had so many fucking issues that they had to take so many breaks. They took 15-minute breaks every once in a while. So it's really not 8 hours. I recommend watching it. There's a lot of the open hearing stuff, different doctors chiming in on what, and they say at the end that the evidence is going to be considered from the testimonials as well, and all of the information that they got. And also the Israel people, I forgot what they called them. The Israel panel person gives a lot of in-depth information about the breakthrough cases there and the booster and how it's doing there and everything. It's not going so swell. And then the myocarditis thing is brought up quite a great deal, and it's very troubling to a lot of people. And they end up voting 16-2 against the boosters for everyone and pro 65 and older. And then they added high risk for occupational exposure, which I guess would apply to medical personnel and that sort of thing. But they didn't seem very pro boosters the whole time, and they were very concerned, a lot of the people involved. So, and then they also mentioned Gruber and Krause, who had resigned. So maybe something happened with with those two people, and they contacted some of these people because they are friends and stuff. Then maybe they got them to really think about what was right, or I don't know. I don't want to get too involved in thinking that FDA actually gives a shit, but some of them seemed to. Some of them seem not to, or seem to be more concerned about, this pandemic and cutting it down and everything and getting as many people vaccinated as possible. But they were looking at it more what are the risks, what are the benefits, and that sort of thing. So that's basically what the whole meeting was about, weighing the risks and benefits and looking at data that was available. But a lot of it was non-peer reviewed, and they made a note of that as well. So, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do next time, but it seemed pretty hopeful from what I've watched, that a lot of them were concerned, actually seeming to be concerned, whether about the narrative or about the actual situation with people being put at risk, especially kids, especially children, people above 16 getting this, or below 16 and above, getting this booster shot, and how that would be beneficial or not. So it was a pretty good thing to watch. If you guys have the time in the chat, I would watch at least from 4 hours on, as much as possible, and then the 8 hour, before 8 hours, 7:50. There's some good stuff there. I did a thread on Twitter as well, which I'm shadow banned on, but you can go there and see the thread and where everything is. Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Variant is where I am on this. The FDA is an organization, doesn't give a shit. Some individual staff may care, but ultimately it doesn't matter. It's all a show. The FDA is a fraud. I mean, whether we're really engaged on every detail of their plan, which they're doing,
correct.
It's not like we're gonna be able to stop any of it. So, I mean, if you really want to waste 5 hours of your life I don't really know honestly what we could do about it, or what being knowledgeable about something which most of us is already against is gonna actually help.
No, I mean to see what they say about the things that we have said they're saying in the video, and is more interesting than some dude from Twitter who's a doctor who has already like expressed these views before getting blown up in indie media like he's like part of the FDA. He's not. So I'm just trying to give you information that yes, there is a lot of pushback on these narratives, and they're within the committee, you know, that did the vote. So it's good to know that information to be able to delineate like what's true and what's not with what's going on with the viral
Well, I
nature.
don't think anybody in the audience is disagreeing with us and not kind of on the same footing that we're on. I mean, I think most of the audience has kind of been following along with this stuff too. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe for the new person who might come in, this might teach them something. But, I mean, I'm sorry to be the Debbie Downer, but I feel like this isn't going to stop them from
I'm
anything.
not
And
saying it's going to stop them. I'm saying it's going to stop some misinformation from spreading and making people look kind of stupid to other people who are preaching about the vaccine. This will get people to see that there's more to this video than meets the eye, and it's more involved than what you think. And it's not just this one individual or this other individual who comes after him, who's in the opening hearing part. It's in the FDA panel itself, but that's not a part of that section. So people need to know which section is which, and that's part of like doing your due diligence as a conspiracy realist, as I say, is knowing what's real and what's not. So that's all I'm trying to do is just, you know, get that out there. Because some people in our community, in the truth community, are believing this video and are sharing this video as if it's somebody from the FDA, and it's not. So I just wanted to confirm that there is that concern, but it's not in that specific clip, and it's more scientific than that too.
Amelia, I'm curious, what's some of your thoughts on this?
I actually heard of the 16-2 FDA vote, ironically enough, on Twitter. So it's definitely picking up some traction. I also meant to mention to Elle, very soon you won't be able to curse out. Supposedly you won't be able to curse out Biden. Supposedly if you say F Biden or something like that, they can start cracking down on you online now for that too.
Oh, he doesn't like it.
Why?
But Trump was a little like that too. He doesn't like being criticized either. A lot of them are like that. These bigger than life assholes.
Yeah, but I'll take some definite, information on like the correct, vote, concern, approval. Yep. But I'll definitely take people like doing their own research and getting their own information than like blindly following like some celebrity or something like that and like basically reading into it like what Elle is saying, because there's definitely a group saying you're stupid if you don't take the vaccine. There was I'm trying to remember, there was actually a TikTok I saw where they were throwing out numbers, and I was like, oh, Marcus could just dispute the hell out of that one, or Elle could just dispute the hell out of that. So that's really what I'm seeing right now. So I'm always appreciative of any information Elle can give, because now the information that Elle's giving is now being played out on the mainstream. So that's something that's different, at least.
Yeah, I didn't fall for it, Mr. Street. I'm not falling for any of it. I just wanted to be clear about the fact checking that I was doing, and that, it wasn't just from one side. It was from a multiple people, doctors and scientists in this meeting, that they were saying a lot of the same things. And that's why they didn't approve the boosters for everyone, according to themselves.
Kelly, we should definitely start saying it. That should be like
Fuck Biden.
fuck Biden. I love saying that.
They used
So
to
we
say
need
fuck
a.
Trump all the time.
I said we need a translator in here. I don't know what the hell that means.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, I mean, Uma
What
TH.
is
What
that?
does that mean? None of us.
Maybe
I don't even. Well, I don't even
That's
know
high.
what language that is. Was that Sanskrit or something? I mean, none of us speak that here. Please
It's
explain
like
what that means,
I
or are
have
you just trolling? I don't know.
he who considers himself superior to others would not be able to surpass oneself on equal footing with others. That's what that meant.
Oh, that's what that meant. Okay.
Buck Biden. Yeah, basically, he's but I said it clear as day. Fuck him. I can't. And the horse he rode in on, and whoever fed that horse, and whoever lodged that horse, the whole
Everybody
line
made
of
the
them.
saddle for the horse.
Yeah,
and the
all
horse
of them.
dewormer.
Yeah, correct. That's what they should do.
And even the dirt the horse walked through.
And his dog who bites everybody.
Absolutely.
His
The
dog.
air the
Get your
horse
dog
breathed
fixed.
too.
Yeah, for real. And his sick ass doctor wife for letting him make a fool of himself all the time.
They're both fools.
Yeah, they are.
Well, I guess we can get ready to wrap on that one.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Mark,
excuse me.
220 here.
Oh, I was wondering, do you guys have anything before we get ready to get out of here?
I just wanted to promote my podcast again, superawkwardfuncast.podbean.com. Chris was in the last episode. Hit me with the next shot.
No, nothing. Just the same as usual. Just take care of yourselves. Look out for each other. That's it. Do some exercise. Try to lose some weight. If you're, find yourself a little overweight, try to just take care of yourself.
Yes.
Eat a little bit healthier if you can.
Get some
I'm
sun.
doing that myself.
Hell yeah, get some sun too. Some
Vitamin D.
Ah.
Both times.
There you go. There you go. I opened up the door for Kelly and Varian.
Yeah. You did that.
I closed it.
Guys,
thank
you, everybody.
I wanted to go back to what Mr. Street said real quick. Talked about his name. Said, what was it? If I can find it. Still, it was, I was like, I like that. I was like, I think I need to talk to Mr. Street, or please come on my Discord if you're not on there. After this repost, I will put my Discord in the link so you all can come into it. On Discord, we kind of speak very freely, and I can say some of the stuff you guys can't hear me say on YouTube. What is it? Rockfin, I know that we're not going to get up to the numbers needed. So I doubt you'll see us get on the Rockfin. I'm still trying to work out some of these other platforms. I'm not the most tech savvy person, but it says, someone asked why my handle is Mr. Street. My answer was, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Very good verse, very good scripture. That's what I said. We don't have to talk. There's some things that I believe that we can link up on. And there's probably some stuff that, I don't know, maybe you can teach me some stuff. Maybe I can teach you some things. But I'm always discerning prophecy. That's something I spend a lot of time focusing on. Trying to look at the overall big picture of things that are coming down the road. Kelly says, L kind of sounds sexy. Uh-oh. Got some lipstick stuff going on here. I mean, hey. But I wanted to put out there that yes, tomorrow at some point in time, and if you guys can't catch it live, that's fine. I'm going to be breaking down the Matrix, and for us to be the political Matrix, with the Matrix 4 coming out, we need to really go in detail and explain out a lot of these things. Explain out some of the prophetic things that they're throwing out in the movie, symbolism that I think is important. And I also wanted to break in, if I have time also, I might cover Demolition Man, some of the things which have come true from that movie already. And I might start trying to find time to just go into some of these movies and the predictive programming. I know that we have all kind of world events and all this shit going on, but sometimes it's good to take a break from some of that stuff and go back and understand what we might be about to see, because Hollywood at this point, how I see it, it's about 25% entertainment. Well, I'll say a little bit. Let's say 60% entertainment, 40% predictive programming. And if you guys keep that in mind, the predictive programming and propaganda, well, actually, let's split that apart. A certain point of predictive programming, a certain part of entertainment, and a certain part of propaganda. That's what's going on in these movies. Sometimes that balance is shifted a little bit. For instance, Wonder Woman 84, that one is majority propaganda. And even if you go back to movies like, what was it, Rambo 3, with him going into Afghanistan, a lot of propaganda in these movies. So it's just something that I say look out for, that I will be trying to do. I might do it on Sundays. I got to figure out the time. Maybe I'll do it Sunday nights or something. And you might just have to catch the recast or whatever if you can't catch it live. But that's what I have working on. So make sure to catch that tomorrow. I definitely will be going live. I know sometimes I say I will, but I definitely will be. So definitely look out for that. Stephen King's The Stand. That's a good one. Any other comments from me guys before we close it out?
No, I'm good. Just thanks everybody for coming out.
Nah, thanks guys for coming, and thank you for being here, and thank everybody in the chat. I mean, I appreciate all y'all coming, and all y'all staying with us.
Correct.
Same
here.
And if you guys see any other content creators or providers or people who do commentary who you want to see us interact with, please put them in the chat. I can try to reach out to them, or if you go onto their platforms, badger them and say, "Hey, when are you going on the Political Matrix?" And we could try to make it happen. Even if we have to switch around some times and things like that and dates. I do want to be able to get some more of those people on here. Especially, I want to get Sebs and Ali back on as soon as I can. I know Ali is very, very busy, and it's hard to get a hold of her sometimes. But we do talk back and forth often. It's just a matter of scheduling the proper time when it works out for both of us. And the same with Sebs. I like to definitely extend for them to be able to come on as much and as often as they like. I thank everybody who joined us, and everybody who will catch this when it pops up on the channel. Thank you so much to all our special regulars who are in here. And you guys all be safe out there, and have a good weekend. Don't let this shit get you too down. Just make sure to try to focus on protecting those close to you, your loved ones, keeping them informed as much as possible, because it's going to come down to us depending on us, because that's all we got. That said, yes, and please hit the like. If you are not subscribed, hit the subscribe and tap the bell. Do it. It's a lot of people in here. It's not hard to click a like button, and it does help the algorithm. So you want to get more people noticing this content and information that we're talking about, that's the only way. That said, this has been a Political Matrix. I am your host, Young Morpheus, here with my good friends, the Whisper and the Machine, L. Latham, Mr. Cool, Cy Lawson, and the Blue Maverick, Mr. Manuel himself. You all have a great one. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, guys.